All right.
Live.
Wait, what number are we on?
16. Oh my gosh.
I think 16. Yeah, it's 16.
Okay, it's 16. Title says 16. I'm going with that. I'm hoping you're right.
I'm right.
Well, hello and welcome to the 16th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast, brought to you by Blue Microphones. And we are here with the entire normal cast, as well as a certified Dr.Lupo.
You heard
Hello,
that,
sir.
Pope? You heard that, Pope? Take notes.
Certified.
We need
I would like to see
Certified
said
in what?
certification.
Yes.
Can you
I'm
produce
pretty sure
paperwork,
it
please?
takes more than a certification to be a doctor.
I don't believe it.
Certification
Certified.
is what they give you when you're insane, not a doctor.
What you guys
Certified
know,
insanity? Wow.
he is a certified doctor of love.
There it is.
Oh.
Dr. Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holtzmann would know firsthand. We played
Need
trials.
some alone time over there.
Lupo and I have played trials together, and we've touched each other's butts a little bit.
We held hands and
I
skipped
play
the
trials
class.
with you every weekend. There's no butt touching.
I know. Lupo and I are just on that level.
That's how special it was.
There were
Rods.
so
That's how
many
special.
questions this week in the Twitter questions about butt touching.
Oh, yeah,
I
dude.
can only assume that's coming from your direction.
I have no idea what. I don't know what they're talking about, man. No idea. No idea.
You don't have commands in your chat to allow people to touch other people's butts.
Absolutely not. I would never.
No.
That's
No.
completely unprofessional,
Screw
and I'm offended that y'all would ask that.
the
Just saying.
doctor of sexual harassment.
What kind of practice is this? What kind of practice do you think of running?
That's a malpractice if I've ever.
So, Dr. Lupo, who are you? Where can people find you when, if they are interested in, watching whatever the hell you do?
Shooting stuff, doing
Shooting
the thing.
stuff.
Shooting hands.
If you want to watch on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/DrLupo. You've got the command in chat. If it's on Twitter, it's coincidentally Dr. Lupo on Twitch is the handle there. Or if you're going to go to YouTube, which I don't do a ton of stuff on there, but I try and upload some of the sillier things, like playing multiple consoles at the same time. We can get to that later.
Yeah, we'll be getting to that later.
That sounds interesting.
That's Dr. Lupo TV is the YouTube channel.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
And you've also, in kind of the theme of Destiny community, we've had a lot of people on doing a lot of different type of charity work in the past. You have a very extensive just list of stuff that you've done. Most recently, you did stuff with Make-A-Wish.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was what I really enjoyed was the Fragile X Foundation stream, the original one.
Oh man.
If you can you just
Yeah,
talk about that?
I can give you the backstory on the very first time. So that event was the first time I did anything charity oriented myself. I had kind of helped and thrown some names around and hosts before that, just to other stuff that was going on. But the night before that event happened, a guy jumped into chat and talked some trash. I mean, they do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
But the guy was pushing my buttons, and I had kind of been playing poorly before that. And so it got to me. And I think I ended stream that night about 3 a.m., something like that. But the finish, the final touch on that conversation I had with that person was that we were going to play each other. We were gonna sweat for money. I challenged the dude to a money match if he was talking all this trash, and said he could beat me hands down. Me and Ninja and Ramblin', two of the guys that I play with sometimes. They're decent.
They're all pretty good players.
Pretty great players.
They're
Pretty good
decent.
players.
Pretty good.
I mean,
Never
Poe
heard of
Bears
them.
is obviously way better, and so's Briar. I just want you guys to know they were my fallbacks. Okay, if I had you guys on deck, I would have been right in there. But they had agreed to play for a couple $100, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll cover my buddies. And when I went to bed that night, I was very frustrated. I woke up in the morning, and while I was getting ready for the day, I thought to myself, there's no way that I'm going to keep this money or anything. Like I wouldn't want it, because I knew we were going to crush this dude out of the gate. Even if it didn't even matter. Like, I just had so much motivation that we were going to win. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to take the money. I'm going to donate it to charity. And on top of that, today, even though I've given no warning, any other donations I get for the entire time I stream that day, I'll donate that as well. Let's just say screw it, and let's just do everything in one pass for the entire stream duration that day. Let's just give it all to charity. And so I started stream up, and I told people what I was doing. And I didn't have a goal. I think I set it at like $1,000 or something like that, because I was like, I'll win like 300 off of this match, and then get a little trickle in after that, and we'll see what we can do with it. That'd be really cool if it happened. And it turned into over $10,000 in 8 hours without
Wow.
any warning. I didn't advertise. I didn't there was just no word of mouth, nothing. I just said, let's just do this. And that's what happened. And I chose the National Fragile X Foundation, which, by the way, those guys never showed up. It was a troll to begin with, which I expected, but I turned it into something positive.
I was there for that part.
Yeah. But I chose the National Fragile X Foundation because so my brother-in-law Dale has something similar to Fragile X. It's kind of like autism, and for the rest of his life, he's somebody else is going to help him do stuff. He's a cool guy. He's a lot of fun to hang out with. He can be a snot just like any other teenager. I mean, he's got that kind of mentality, but he's a cool dude. And so for me, in order to support a charity or do something motivational like that, I've got to feel like I have to be able to put my heart into it. And so if I can't, I feel like I'm kind of half-assing it. And this is one that if I full-assed this thing for sure. And by the end of it, there were some pretty emotional moments that it might be out there somewhere, the rebroadcast or something like that. I don't know if I ever highlighted it, but I sent the money to National Fragile X Foundation, and I thought that was the end of it. That wasn't the end of it. I got an email a couple months later from Jay Suter, basically the chairman of the foundation. That was a personal thank you email. He said, "Hey, listen, I wanted to say thank you to you, directly. Is there any way I can call you? I can contact you and we can talk?" And I only saw the email after he had tried to call me because I included my phone number and the donation information. So I missed a phone call from him, and I was like, "Oh crap. That's not good." So I tried to call him back. He didn't answer. And then he shot me another super short email, said, "Hey, I'm in a meeting. What time can we talk today?" This happened to be the same time a buddy of mine, Chris G, he's another Destiny streamer, flew in from England for a weekend to hang out and that just hang out. He just came to the house to visit. And so he and I were sitting down here and we were talking, and we went up and had lunch. And when we were done having lunch, we had decided, let's just try and do it again. Let's just do it again. Let's just not tell him. Actually, that was during dinner. I had the phone call with Jay on the phone, and I broadcasted, in fact, and it basically was like, "Hey, here's thanks a ton for this." And the phone call. No, I'm getting the order of things confused. The phone call happened after the second time. So, Sorry, the email happened, and he said 3:00 the next day. That night at dinner, we decided to do it again, and we had 10 hours to raise as much money as we could. That's right. And then the next day, we had gotten up to about 14,500, and called him on Skype on stream. Now, he knew he was going to be on stream. He didn't know about the donation, and he told us about what all the money from the first donation was going towards, which was really super cool. And then, before he left, I was like, "Oh, by the way, we just put together another $14,000. If that's cool with you." And he was like, "Holy crap, are you serious?" He was awesome. Jay is a really cool guy. National Fragile X Foundation they do a lot for a lot of people, and it was one that I could put my heart into. But again, it was one of those it was one of those unadvertised. I didn't say anything about it to anybody until we just decided to do it. I just put it out there, and so finally I was like, I really got to do something more organized than this. I was part of the first time around with the St. Jude's Children's Research, the stuff for Destiny Community Con, now Guardian Con. It sucked. I had a 4-hour block between midnight and 4 a.m. my time, where there's nobody on, but I tried my ass off. Hopefully this time around, maybe we'll see about positioning this time. But so I decided, like I said, to do something that was kind of pre-notified. I decided to advertise it, and I got in touch with a couple people, including sponsor of this show, Blue Mike, who helps me out as well. Very, very
good guys.
People. They're decent. And I was like, "Hey, I'm doing this thing." I touched base with a couple other people and managed to put together some silly things. And man, it just kept blowing up. I started at noon on New Year's Day, and I was going to do 24 hours of trials the whole time.
This is the Make-A-Wish stream.
This is the Make-A-Wish one.
Yeah.
And I advertised and stuff for it. I had acquired a signed copy of the Ghost edition of Destiny from a previous charity stream, the one from the Crucible Sherpa guys, the from Reddit, and I had donated a grand during Third Echelon's portion because the top donator was going to win that. I was like, I need that because I want to keep it moving. I want it to become a thing that nobody ever keeps, but it just keeps generating money for charity somehow. And so I was like, let's see if I can keep it going. So I got that. And then I don't know if you guys know who Kim.com is.
Yeah.
He and I have played together a number of times, and he heard about the charity event and said, "Hey, do you want to play some cards?" So I actually, during this thing, I raffled off a spot on a card to play with him, and that went for a grand, I think. I raffled off 2 spots to play with Cosmo, who was like, "Yeah, man, I'll jump in. Let's see if we can do something crazy." And I was like, "Sweet." And both of those, I think, went for $1,000 as well. Kim.com actually gave away a signed Elite controller because he had an Elite that was like a month old. And one of the guys that visits my stream for charity raffled it off for $1,200. People were just coming out of the woodwork, and things just kept lining up, and I had all sorts of stuff to give away. And in the end, we raised just under $40,000 for Make-A-Wish in 24 hours. Just me sitting right here shooting people and getting really delirious by the end.
Yeah, I tuned in at like the 23-hour and 30-minute mark, and you had kind of the
glazed look,
glazed look over your eyes.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, you've done a hell of a lot of work for different charities. So now let's get people to actually hate you.
Perfect. Yes.
Let's get people
Now
to hate
you love him so much.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Clearly a pinnacle of the community, but there's a dark underside to every single person. This guy uses mouse and keyboard to play Destiny. Now, personally,
that's possible.
So I understand why it's not actually cheating, but go into it a little bit because it's.
You want the details?
Give me a couple of the details. Give me.
What's the logistics?
Give me some of the pros and cons.
Possible?
Yeah, how's it
Assume that
possible?
I know nothing about doing it and how to.
Because you don't.
How to,
Pope, I assume you know nothing. Don't worry. So, yes, it's true what they say. The rumors, you've all heard them. I will finally come out and admit, for the first time ever on any stream, I do play mouse and keyboard.
We get an exclusive.
I've been playing this way for, it's been a year, almost 2 years. I think in April or May, it'll be 2 years. And this is the little guy that I use right here. This is a Zim 4. It's flipped because of the camera. Sorry about that. It says mix right now. That's super cool. But it's got 2 little USB ports on the front. And on the back, it's got a standard size USB, a micro, and then a little program button. And it's got some cool LEDs on the top, so you know it goes super fast. Because everybody knows LEDs make it go faster.
Definitely.
What color are they? Red or blue?
They're actually whatever color I want them to be, which is how you know that's how you know it's cheating. You can change the colors. No. Way back when, the first maybe 5 months of Destiny, I played on a controller. I had a standard Xbox One controller because I bought one of the release editions of the console. Before that, up until now, I've played shooters on console or PC for 20, 22, 23 years. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, both with a controller and with mouse and keyboard. I think my first real serious M&K shooter was Rogue Spear. I played on my brother's E-machine. It had like a Pentium 3, like 500 megahertz something in it. It was awesome.
Baller.
Dude, there's a sticker on the front that said it will literally last forever. I shit you not. It's amazing. Incidentally, that's the box I stream off of now. No, I'm kidding. So I started playing that. I think I got into console shooters for maybe with GoldenEye was probably my first one. That's probably a lot of people's first really big. I mean,
that kind of changed the game for console shooters.
For console shooters, yeah. That and Perfect Dark, I've put more hours into, maybe even than Destiny still, because when I was younger, dude, all I had to do was go to school. So I get home and just immediately start the circle strafe with the C buttons. Oh no, I will put anybody to sleep still. But so starting there, I played like crazy. I played shooters all the way through Halo 1, Halo 2. I probably played more than any other Halo. 3, 4, Reach. I played. Chances are, you name it. If it's a decently popular shooter, dude, I put some time into it.
Nice.
And then I started playing this way. The problem is that as you get older, and so I work in IT for a living, so I'm on a keyboard all day. I'm constantly, my hands are moving, and so I get hand cramps when I hold the controller for too long, especially the way the One is designed. I had the issue with the 360 controller a little bit, and actually, incidentally, the original Xbox controller was great because it was huge. If you ever used the Duke, you could kill an animal with that. I don't think they allow those on planes, man. Like it's a certified weapon. But so this came out and I was like, okay, that kind of sucks. The other problem I was having is that Destiny, unlike a lot of shooters before it, gives you the ability to revive people. And you have to hold X to do that on the default control setup. And it's really tough to hold X and move the sticks at the same time to aim and jump and move and move and shoot and crouch and do all of those things.
There's a lot to do in Destiny.
There's a lot to do.
Yeah.
I would argue maybe more so simultaneously than any other shooter on a console. I mean, if in the middle of like a 3v3, there's a lot going on if you're trying to revive somebody and defend yourself.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
So I started looking around for options to be able to do that, and I have a history with third-party controllers in the past. My brothers and I used to call we had one of those N64 controllers that had a rapid fire button on. Yeah, everybody in chat is literally about to go, yo, I knew you were a cheater.
Yeah.
Modded controller.
But the stick, because it was a third party, the stick in the middle, it eventually got drift. And man, stick drift sucks, but it was a third party, and we used to call it the crack stick because when you moved around, it might be like you're on drugs. I can't confirm or deny that, but that was what my brothers that was the joke that they would make about the controller. So I wanted to avoid a third party, so I didn't look at Scuff. I had heard some positive and negative stuff about Scuff controllers, and I still hear positive and negative, and I think that goes with any third party controller company. There's a bunch of them now that you're going to see positive and negatives because like the people that get lemons are usually the loudest, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you can't ever really gauge. Regardless, I was like, okay, I want to go for a first party, but the Elite at the time wasn't a thing, and I wasn't on PlayStation, and I mean, still there isn't an official PlayStation Elite controller with paddles or anything like that yet.
There's two officially licensed ones, but not one by Sony now. Yeah,
and those are very recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's other Sony officially licensed things too that we can talk about here in a minute.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that. So, Mormac, I know I talk forever, dude. I got a lot to say. So, one of the things that I was looking for was that ability to move and res and shoot, and if I could save some hand cramp time just so I could play longer, that'd be cool too. So I actually had the idea to look for one of these things after I went to a LAN that I played some Halo Master Chief Collection and a little bit of Destiny at, along with a bunch of League of Legends and some other stuff I was playing at the time. And I saw a dude playing Destiny, but he's using a mouse and keyboard. And I was like, yo, holy shit, I know that's awesome. So I went over and I was like, hey, what's up, man? I just had a question. How are you playing mouse and keyboard on your computer? Like, how are you playing Destiny on your computer? And he was using a Titan 1 at the time, and he told me about it. I was like, oh, shit, okay. So I started looking around, and I found that there were a bunch of them out there.
Yep.
A number of adapters, and there's even more now. More and more companies are popping up that are doing similar things to what Zim and Cronus and all those guys are doing. And so I was like, okay, which is the best one out of all of this? If I'm really going to try this, I want to know what the go-to is. And that's when I found this guy. $125 plus a little bit of shipping, and they have a return policy that's basically said if I didn't like it within 30 days, ship it back and we're good to go. And I was like, there's no downside to this. Let's give it a shot. If I hate it, if it doesn't feel natural, screw it. I'll get my money back. It's not, at the time it wasn't that big of a deal. So I grabbed it and I hated it. The first 2 weeks were like, this is what is this shit? Like, this is terrible. Like, it feels uncontrollable. It's super, super slow.
Yeah.
You know, you set your in-game sensitivity up to 10 because they want you to have the maximum range of motion for the controller, or for the mouse, or whatever you're using.
You're trying to get the 1-to-1, like you do on normal PC gaming.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Incidentally, a 10 in Destiny is sluggish as hell.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is a problem. I mean, I could change some settings in it to make it so it's very fast, but then it's too fast and it's uncontrollable. They have these things called ballistics curves to kind of gauge relative to how fast you're moving your mouse, the velocity, what the equivalent stick tilt would be, and you can make it faster or slower, and the acceleration that happens at, and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But after a little while, I tool around with it, and things started to feel better and better. And I decided to not ship it back at the end of the month. I would say maybe at this point, 5,000 hours later of just Destiny time, just through the Zim over the course of maybe 19, 20 months, I'm a little bit better than I was when I started. Actually, my KD relative to what I was at before hasn't really changed too much. I've gone up probably 0.1 to 0.2 overall, but there's a ton of different cases where people say that their KD like triples. There's people that say that they go down. I don't know. I can't argue one way or another. I can tell you from my own experience, it hasn't really changed the way that I play too much, other than now I can do exactly what I want to do. I can res, move, and shoot, and my hands don't hurt like hell. So the way that it actually works, because that was your initial...
That was the initial question.
I know.
Like 20 minutes ago.
So this guy acts like a translator, and there is input delay when you use it, but it's extremely subtle. It's actually the polling rate of the USB chipset on the console is the delay that you experience. So on Xbox... I
know some of those words.
On Xbox, it's 8 milliseconds. On PlayStation, it's 4. But for me, it's so negligible that I don't feel it. A buddy of mine has tried it, and he says that on Xbox, he can feel it. You can use, if you plug in through USB, one of the other consoles controllers, like if I put my Elite in the front and the PlayStation in the back and I hook it up to my PlayStation, it works just like a Cronus Max where it does the controller conversion. You can even do things like play Destiny with a Wiimote and a nunchuck, including motion controls to aim, which incidentally I did, and I went flawless in trials doing that, which is really stupid. Of course. You can do things like use Rock Band drums. You can even, there's a guy that got Movie of the Week for using voice commands and a blindfold to kill Crota solo using
Zim?
It was a similar converter, I think. I don't know if it was Zim or not, but he had the Rock Band mic with voice commands program, I think, through a tablet. I could probably figure out how he did it pretty quickly because it's similar to the Wiimote setup. Yeah. But you can do all sorts of ridiculous shit with it.
So this thing works by, you literally plug this thing into your console. You plug a keyboard and a mouse. You can use any keyboard and mouse. Like you can go to Best Buy and get like Razer keyboards and mice, or
there's a number of incompatible pieces. It depends on, I would say, so long as there's not a shitload of lights and additional functions in the keyboard, if it's a pretty base keyboard, even if it's a mechanical, like I've got a Quickfire Rapid next to me. That's a mechanical keyboard. It's a damn nice one, but there's no bells and whistles. That one works. I've got one with some lights on it. That one works, but there's others that have problems. So they have a compatibility list on the site in case people are trying to make something work, and you can check it out there. But it's not an aimbot. People will often make accusations, and I find that typically it comes from. I've
watched your stream, and I don't believe you.
It comes from inexperience or ignorance about the way that the thing works. It's a translator. If it were native, man, if I were plugging a keyboard and mouse straight into the console and there was no translation in the middle, it would probably feel pretty unfair.
No removing aim assist. Aim assist affects that heavily, right? With the keyboard and mouse.
Aim assist affects a lot of people if they're not prepared for it and they don't have experience. I have issues with it sometimes, and I'll even swear at it on stream a little bit. If I get pulled off of somebody, my brain is this is just like Overwatch on PC, right? If I just aim here, then I can just wait and shoot the dude when he stands up. But no, somebody will move in front. My aim gets dragged just like everybody else's, and I get screwed on getting the headshot. So some things are a direct correlation, some things don't make sense, and aim assist can be one of those things that kind of screws you up if you're not prepared for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Would you say it's an advantage?
I would say it's a very subtle difference in terms of aiming at a distance. CQC can be really tough. Like I said, 10 is slow unless you run a setup like I do, where there's a number of different sensitivity profiles that I can switch between. But it's the same thing as like you watch, Walla run 10-cent shotgun. He can be very accurate with a primary and then switch and whip like a top and hit somebody behind him with a shotty. If I couldn't do if I couldn't change the way the sensitivity felt on the fly, it wouldn't even be worth using.
Yeah.
It'd be impossible. There are some people that do use it that way, and they kind of struggle. The one time I would say it does feel like I'm gonna win versus somebody that's using a controller is on a map like First Light. If they're sniping, super long range, no aim assist, like completely zero aim assist, I will whoop that guy's ass.
Yeah.
And I mean it's
And there's so many maps like that too.
Tons of maps.
And they're always in
And
rotation.
it's always trials.
Yeah.
Always trials with those maps. Always.
So since you bought that, since you've been using it, PlayStation actually released it's not first party, but it's a officially licensed keyboard and mouse for PlayStation, which you can use in Destiny or any other first-person shooter. Have you tried that out? I think it's made by Hori.
Hori Tac Pro. I actually pre-ordered it because a ton of people were like, "Yo, are you going to try this thing?" It's shit. It's very plainly it's pretty garbage because the Zim does things with what they call a smart translator that there's a number of these things out there that they don't do, and typically it has to do with the way that sensitivity is adjusted at diagonals relative to how you have the horizontal and vertical set.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is, so that thing, if you are doing very wide circles with the mouse, it was a circle. It was very clean, but as you got closer and closer to the center, the diagonal sensitivity was higher than the perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal, and so you'd start drawing diamonds. You could fix it and scale it the other way, where you could get the very small center to be a circle, but then as you would go further out, it would turn into a box because the horizontal and vertical will be higher than the diagonal. And there's no sweet spot. I went through a number of different configurations. I sat and played with it for a couple hours a night for a couple weeks, and it just never felt natural. That being said, like you said, it's officially supported by Sony. It's a licensed product by the company.
Does that take some of the pressure off, right? Do you get less people saying you're using mouse and keyboard on console, you're cheating? Well, now that's actually like no, you don't get less of that.
No, man. Like I said before we started too, if you name it, as far as offensive things or disagreements or negativity, man, I've heard it. It doesn't really faze me because it's kids on the internet or people that feel like they're unfiltered. That's cool. Say what you want. But my opinion is that I don't have a problem with people not agreeing. I never will.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine because we're all human beings and we all have our differing opinions. That's part of the beauty of humanity, is that everybody has a different point of view on things, and you're more than welcome to yours. I'm never going to stifle it either until you start saying offensive stuff, and then there's other places to do that, like YouTube. The comment section, if you want to pour it in there, that's great, because I just click delete on those, and I do all day. But yeah, it's just it's the way that I've decided to play. I've gotten pretty good at it. I played a bunch of tournaments and did okay at it. I actually, what's funny is I feel like I potentially played better in the that first MLG tournament. Yeah. The first 3v3 skirmish one on PS4, there were about 900 teams that entered, and me and Ninja and Ramblin' played, and they have rules specifically against it. And since I stream, I couldn't play on it. That's fine. I had said for a long time, and I still do, if there are rules against it, man, I don't see myself as a rule breaker or somebody that's cheating or anything like that. So I'll just use a controller. And so I picked up my PS4 controller, and actually I ended up playing claw grip instead of standard. And I ran shotgun on a Blade Dancer, and we finished top 8 in that tournament. So
nice.
People still will tell me all sorts of things and will disagree that that it's fair and that kind of thing. But in the end, I mean, I'm playing what's comfortable for me, and a lot of other people seem to think it's pretty cool. I do like the hand cam stuff on screen, so people can see how many actions I have to perform to play Night Stalker and that kind of thing. Yeah,
that's cool.
I do think it's cool that they did release a officially licensed keyboard and mouse controller too. Even if you're not seeing the effects of it, I think it does legitimize it a little bit, and it allows. Hopefully, it'll allow people. You can use a scuff in competitive play, and that's a modded controller, right? So it's varying lines of like how far you can go down. Like you got a lot of people buying these like Dominator mod packs. These things have rapid fire. They have all sorts of stuff. It's like at what point are you cheating? What point are you not? Well, if they have an officially licensed controller, I mean that's not cheating.
Yeah,
that was going to be my point to this whole thing, Briar. I mean, if I'm looking at what is like cheating,
or if it is cheating, I highly recommend it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's an interesting conversation about that. The modded controllers with the automatic triggers and things like that. Back when we were playing COD, it used to be very prevalent and something that you would see wherever you would see somebody that had a modded controller. And
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean. So the debate was more clear there as to whether or not it's cheating or not.
And
I just don't see it with the keyboard and mouse.
Call of Duty, so Black Ops 3 came out after I had started playing the Zim, and people were like, dude, you should try it. Let me know what you think of it. And I was like, okay. So I bought it for pretty cheap from a buddy of mine who didn't need his copy, and he sent it to me, and I started playing it. And I tool around with the settings for it, and after a little bit of practice, because the way that COD is built, it has a lower aim assist threshold. I mean, Destiny's aim assist, dude, is crazy high.
It is
in comparison to other games, man. You can shoot like a potato and still be fantastic. Look at Pope, man. Look at Pope. Proof.
Prime
living
example.
proof.
Oh Lord.
Living proof.
Maybe you should join Planet Destiny with all that, all the SmackDown.
I just want you to know, Patrick, that I am
out.
biting my tongue the best I can.
Oh, I know. I know. And that's why I love it. I see your pain.
I do not support this action, Pope. Let loose the dogs of war.
So COD has it has much lower aim assist, and it has a much higher sensitivity cap.
Yeah.
I think like they pick an arbitrary number. It's like 14 in Black Ops 3, and it's something like insane is the sensitivity. I set that. I turned the aim assist. The aim assist is lower there, and I started messing around with it. And after that engine. I could hit some really ridiculous stuff with a little bit of practice that a controller player would struggle to even conceive trying.
Yeah. Isn't there an option to turn off aim assist in Black Ops 3?
I don't remember there being one back when I played right at release. Maybe there is now. Somebody
I could be wrong.
Like in
I think it went up to 20 also in the sensitivity, and it's very high in comparison to Destiny.
It's extremely high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's more of a Twitch shooter than Destiny is, so it's going to have very high sensitivity.
Regardless, the game engine decides quite a bit about how the Zim handles. There are some games like Black Ops. I haven't had a ton of time with Overwatch on console, but I've heard some people say it feels really advantageous compared to a controller player.
I can imagine.
Basically, on Overwatch, there's no. The look acceleration is very short, whereas Destiny's is like really long.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny you have kind of sluggish looking until you look at past 90 degrees, and then it'll really speed up.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
On Overwatch, it's very short. It's like maybe a 45 to 35 degree cone, and then it starts going whoop really quick. So mouse and keyboard on Overwatch on console would be. It would be like playing on PC, except when you finally mouse over a target, it locks on because of the aim assist.
Which sounds pretty scary. But like I said, Destiny doesn't... it doesn't have that kind of setup. There's a lot fighting against what would feel natural with a mouse, and so I've never felt like I have some magical advantage against other players. I mean, you watch through a bunch of videos in the past I've uploaded for like the very first FarCog tournament and a number of other games. Dude, I get my butt kicked by players left and right. There are some insane players out there.
All these kids with their Mountain
Fast
Dew
reaction.
Right? They're Mountain Dew and rap music.
Good eyesight.
18-year-old reaction
know.
time.
Right?
God damn.
18. That's like ready to retire.
I know.
What do you think of the degradation from 60 to 30 FPS also? I mean, a lot of people don't realize it, but mouse sensitivity is enhanced with 60 FPS as well.
It is indeed. Or at least the accuracy, the more frames you have, I mean, the more opportunities you have for minor corrections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
30 FPS Destiny is a struggle, dude, especially because I've been playing some Overwatch on PC, and I've got a pretty beefy machine, and I run competitive settings and stuff like that. So I'm running like maybe 300 FPS on Overwatch on PC. Granted, that's not what my monitor's refresh rate is. It's only 120, but
only 120.
There's a massive difference. It is very much like a slideshow. If I go from Overwatch and then jump on console Destiny, and just like it seems stuttery. It takes a little while for your brain to adjust and fill in those gaps to make it feel fluid again, and it's extremely noticeable for the first maybe half hour. I would like to see what our current Destiny would be like with 60 FPS. We'll see, right? I mean,
we'll see.
There's a pretty noticeable difference for me in terms of frame rate. There's a lot of things about Destiny, the current Destiny's engine that are lacking, in my opinion. I mean, we could talk about server tick rates and peer-to-peer for an FPS.
Netcode.
The only relevant shooter right now that runs on peer-to-peer. I don't know. That just seems maybe a little outdated. But it's
Peer-to-peer being outdated?
No, not even a little bit, man. Of course not.
Isn't this the 90s still?
Oh God, that statement hurt me. Oh God, I dream of a world where we have dedicated servers in 60 FPS and PC for Destiny 2.
Would you switch to PC?
That's why I wanted to bring up also. What's your thoughts on a PC Destiny 2? And are you going to maintain multiple platforms, or would you just be strictly PC? You know, like would you approach it?
I have a big wish, a deep-seated dream where the Microsoft Play Anywhere program works with Destiny 2. That would change absolutely nothing about my current setup. I'd run both consoles, but I'd play all three platforms without any issue, because my PC character and my Xbox character, since they both are on a shared back end, would be the same. I could play Trials on Xbox One for a little while, and then say, okay, I'm going to switch over to PC, and we'll play over here for a while, and then I'll jump on PlayStation and play on there, and I wouldn't have to put in any additional time.
True.
Imagine if all three groups could play together.
Oh God, it would be amazing.
But one character could be shared between all three platforms.
I just want the data to be shared. It doesn't have to be cross-platform compatible, but if it was shared data for platforms, that would be great. Sign up with a Bungie account. You know,
if there's no exclusives in Destiny 2, there's no reason that can't happen.
Exactly.
The back end database could just be one housing, and that's it. And whatever interface you touch it from, whether it's PS4, Xbox One, or PC, you load up the same characters. They just have to do the same thing that companies like Blizzard do with World of Warcraft, where you have the phone app if you want to run your little dudes on missions or whatever, but you can't log in if you're on the phone. Or if you're logged in and you log in on the phone, it kicks you off. They force each other offline. To prevent any sort of like duping or trying to like register a quest reward at the same time in both platforms. They prevent that by doing that. They could easily do the same thing with Destiny 2, and boy, would that be freaking incredible. That'd be one thing that would drive a big old nail on the what platform do I play on coffin. Why not all of them? I mean,
I find it as the Scorpio gets closer, I find it's getting harder and harder to justify spending money on the Xbox platform, because, as they introduce more of these Play Anywhere titles, like if I could just play the game on a PC, that I already have. Why buy the Xbox Scorpio? They're almost shooting themselves in the foot with that thing.
I mean, it's partially marketing. They have to keep up with what Sony's done with the PS4 Pro, which I've got a PS4 Pro. The only difference I notice, at least in Destiny, is that on Frontier, I don't get frame drops. Like there's water and a lot of effects going on at once. All the style stuff, all the back end graphics, the little perfection-y things like anti-aliasing and occlusion and stuff like that drops frame rate if there's a lot of things going on at once. PS4 Pro, I haven't had that issue, and actually it was worse on the Xbox One and my Xbox One S. I haven't had that issue really either on Frontier. That was one of my biggest complaints, actually, of any map, was Frontier had crazy frame drop because of the reflections in the water combined with nades going off and supers and all sorts of shit, and annoying Titans being annoying. Then you would have all of these things slowing down the screen. But I don't have that anymore. But the Scorpio, I'm interested to see what they do with it, because they could follow the same line that Sony did with the PS4 Pro and advertise pro specific patches for and graphical fidelity and stuff like that, and reduce frame rate drops and that kind of thing. Or they could potentially go the siloed game route where you have to have a Scorpio to play certain games. There's a number of things they could do. I really hope they don't segment the community, though. Yeah. That's my one fear, like you said, Brian.
Yeah. I think their plan is to make a game that's compatible with the Xbox One platform, whether you have a Xbox One, an Xbox One S, or an Xbox Scorpio. I think the plan is you buy a game and you just get varying levels of quality out of that game, graphical quality.
Yeah. Just like PC, low, medium, and high graphics.
Yeah,
same thing with the Scorpio.
Yeah.
I think there's always going to be an interest level for the consoles, because even as a PC user, I've been a PC gamer for a long time, probably about the same time as you, Dr. Lupo. And I've there's times where I get annoyed. I mean, if I have to clean my drivers, I'm like, oh, all right, this driver install broke things. Yeah. Things are hitchy now and glitchy. I gotta just uninstall and reinstall stuff. That's a pain in the ass. Whereas a console is very convenient.
It is.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. So load it up, play it, looks after itself, kind of thing. You don't have to worry about maintaining anything. Yeah.
There's a convenience to it. So there's two sides for sure. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned PC.
But being able to set your own frame rate is a big deal.
Yep. Oh yeah, especially. I mean, I've been playing Overwatch on PC, like I said, and it's definitely night and day in comparison to a console. The ability to customize and fine tune things, and get certain, like you can see your frame rate and your latency in milliseconds on the screen whenever you want to, and then in Destiny you get green bar, green bar, green bar, red bar, green bar. What does it mean? Where's the numbers? Give me some values.
It means nothing.
Person just teleported in front of me.
Last night we were playing Overwatch, and we had like a consistent 40 ms the entire night. I was like 35 to 40 ms. I was like, all right, this is nice. Everything's great, feels responsive. And then all of a sudden, like it starts climbing up to 250, and we're like, oh no, we're out, and we can just rejoin, and it's great to have that amount of control over stuff.
It is. It's good to know, and I like seeing the time. Because then I'm like, oh, I've wasted like 7 hours sitting here. I should probably go do something else.
And WoW, there's like a calendar too, so I can see like
I can remember what day it is.
Passed. Yeah,
like,
I can mark on the day when to shower. It's great.
Exactly. Holtzmann, that doesn't surprise me.
The shower guild.
As someone who's put a lot of time into World of Warcraft, that fits almost perfectly. That's exactly right.
We do have some news we want to talk about today. You guys want to?
Yeah, we should transition into that.
Weekly update.
Woo. Yeah, so weekly update came out, and we got some confirmation of stuff, which is good.
We got not a promise. We got we hope if all goes well. Yeah. Which I'll take that.
Well, got confirmation and no stuff too.
Yeah, we got a confirmation that Crimson Days will not be an event this year. Which
I kind of guessed, because they were giving out the Crimson Day shaders now and the ghosts and all that stuff, and I'm like, they probably would just save that for the next event. So, yeah, also, I kind of guessed that was coming.
Also, the event last year received quite the mixed reaction, more so than the Dawn or SRL received the previous year. Like it was very mixed. So I think it's wise that they moved it away from what it was.
Well, I mean. Yeah, just duplicating the Crimson Days event as it happened last year probably wouldn't be a great idea. But I'm not going to lie. I was hoping that they were going to do something similar that they did with the Dawning. Last year we had SRL. This year we had the Dawning, which included SRL. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of hoping that we'd get something similar with Crimson Days, where we'd get an event that Crimson Days was a part of.
They are working on something, though. They said that we haven't seen the last of the live updates.
Are they working on something for February, or are they working for something for spring?
I highly doubt it's February. That's why they said.
They only mentioned spring. Yeah, they only mentioned spring.
I think it's a March.
So it's going to be a long, lean time here.
Do you guys think
anybody
also
was
it's
hoping
the final
for some content in February? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you think it's the final update?
It seems like it's going to be a big one. It seems like they're working on this spring thing to be like the big thing that they're bringing us. So I think that will probably be the last thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Before we finally start talking about Destiny 2.
Which is kind of exciting.
This weekly update had a lot of vagaries to me when I read it. Is they talk about a weapon balancing, and they say they want to get it out quickly, but it seems to me like it's going to be in the spring update. Did you guys get that impression too when reading through this?
I'm getting multiple things here. It's like
it's you read through it and it's like
wait a second. I've got my teacup here. Let me look at the bottom of it.
Yes, read the future.
All right, it looks like we're gonna get the weapons update in the spring.
Do you see the Grim also?
That's kind of what that's the impression I got.
But I will be super not happy with spring for an update. Like I kept saying on stream that I don't need Destiny to be the most perfectly balanced game in the world. I just want something different to play with. I just want it to be refreshing. I want to hunt after. Sake. Exactly. Yeah. I just let me use a different weapon, please.
The problem is that the timing is potentially, like you said, if this is the last one before Destiny 2, they need to cleave as close to the middle for player morale as possible. The sooner they go, the happier people are sooner. But then the more time they have before, the more stagnancy, and the more people are going to say, "Yo, when's Destiny 2 coming? When's Destiny 2 coming?" And so if they want to try and like pad that a little bit, they have to push it back ever so gently. Whether that means D2
I disagree
comes
with
out.
You, Lupo. I think we should have gotten one for the Dawning. We should have gotten a weapon update or balance patch for the Dawning, and I think we should get one quarterly at least.
I definitely don't disagree with that. I mean, it would be fantastic to see a game that has been taken to, although with some limitations, the competitive level that it's at right now, get more hands-on, kind of tending to. But the way that I think Bungie approached it, and I remember this quote from many, many, many moons ago of them specifically saying, "Don't take the Crucible seriously." And
they did, yeah.
And so I think that rings super true about how they've approached patching and maintaining and balancing, because they don't see it as a game like Riot sees League or like Blizzard sees Here's the Storm or Overwatch.
I remember them saying that too, but they've said a lot of things that they've gone back on, right? They've seen how we play Destiny. They've seen how the player base has reacted to Destiny, and they've reacted to it. They've done that in a lot of different ways, and I think they're doing it with the Crucible. I think they see it as they're focused on Destiny 2, clearly.
Definitely,
so we're not going to see.
I get the impression that there's a small subsection of Crucible designers that really want to approach it as a highly competitive. You should be high stakes.
There is,
and then there's and then maybe there's like the management says, no, the Crucible right now is not supposed to be taken serious. But the Crucible designers are like, well, we're going to have skill-based matchmaking and these rewards that you want to seek after for winning towards the Lighthouse, that most of the community is going to be like, I want those rewards. So it's a very conflicting message, even though they said, hey, don't take this serious because our netcode is garbage. Sorry, it is. But yet they have these stakes and rewards and messaging that makes it feel like we should be taking it serious. So creates a lot of strife in the PvP community.
And also just the community, like it's very clear that there is a passionate PvP community.
Oh yeah.
And that's keeping Destiny alive right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that is Destiny right now, unfortunately. Yep. So they
but strike scoring, Watts, come on. Strike scoring. It's so much fun.
I'm actually really happy. I'm really happy that they put strike scoring in.
It's definitely, it makes strikes a lot more interesting, that's for sure.
Well, you can't tell me you find yourself logging into Destiny and be like, yo, I've done strike score. I've been running strikes for the last week. Let's do it again. It's going to be great. No, nobody does that. I mean,
I do.
Bo Bear, you're a PvE superstar, and I love you.
I love it. I'm telling you, I sit when it's family playtime. We sit down, and my son and my wife and I gets down. We play some strike scoring, and my son wants to beat my score so bad. So for us,
that's nice competition.
It is a great deal of fun.
How much time do the three of you spend playing Destiny per week, though? Like that?
We probably play. He's here with me half the week, and we play probably about a half an hour to an hour a night. So probably 3 hours, maybe a week.
Which I think is perfect for if you're going to take a casual approach to the game. But there are some people that have no life and play both consoles and do trials all weekend that are going to get burnt out on that. I think
of course.
As time goes on with Destiny as well, there's going to be the player base is going to be more and more scoped down to the people that are either not burnt out or are, you could consider them generally more casual. And that kind of explains the reasoning for their PvE focus for some stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they know that a majority of the players still dabble in everything, I mean, they've got all the stats, right? Yeah. They can see everything.
Yeah.
Any good company that runs, has a data backend is going to keep track of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They know where the player focus is, and that's why stuff like strike scoring becomes a thing. I mean, I myself have never been, I wish I could do, I wish there was a scoring system for strikes and it could be competitive in that way. I've never said that, but maybe there's enough of a focus that they look at stuff like that.
It's been one of the big requested features ever since the alpha and the beta when we were first running Devil's Lair. It's like, well, we want a score thing. The only thing we can really separate us on is, kills at the end of a strike.
Yeah.
What I like is somebody that jumps in randomly with other people to play a strike, and you're match made with two other randoms. The bounties encourage team play, and then the team scoring. So, as an experience for an individual player who's jumping in and playing with, maybe two people they don't know, it makes the PvE aspect. It's equivalent. I think running strikes is equivalent to PvE players as Crucible is
PvP.
To PvP players.
Yeah. They also added those medals in that give you reasons to switch up how you're playing the strikes. I think as a part of the strike scoring system, like the rainbow medals and stuff like that. I thought was interesting, and it changed. Even though you played this strike 1,000 times, at least you got something new to think about while you're doing it.
It might give you a new approach to it. Yeah, it's less of a placebo, I think, than some people are looking at it. Like maybe I will openly admit, at first when the strike scoring thing came out, I was probably a little more negative regarding it than I should be. I still will always fall back and say, until I have a chance to actually get my hands on any new update, I'm not going to judge it, right? Because I can't really say anything. And I've always said repeatedly, at least in my stream, change is good. It doesn't matter if it's bad change, but at the rate that we get change is good because you want new Destiny. You always do.
Well, especially for PvP, it's just, metas get boring fast. And once you're set into a meta and all the good weapons, you've collected those weapons, and that takes away some of your drive to keep playing, right? If they change the meta and there's new weapons that are at the top of the meta, then you all of a sudden got a reason to go and grind for those weapons, right? So
and that's all throughout the game, right? That includes PvE, that could include the raid. Sure. Like if all of a sudden the raid, I don't know, sniper is the best sniper, everyone's gonna be like, I want to go raid so I can go with the sniper. So changing up the meta has a huge effect on not just PvP, but also just how much people are playing in general.
Played.
Yeah, exactly. It's a huge difference, and it's been like 130 something days since we had it, and
it's like
130 something counting.
Just turn to your left. You have the calendar there, right? You got the calendar.
I do. I have a calendar. I'm taking.
It's totally 136 days, 12 hours, 13 minutes, and 5 seconds.
But who's counting, right?
I'm not counting. It doesn't matter to me.
A giant clock swings in behind her that's got a time on it recently.
Maybe I remember it wrong, but I could have sworn around the time of the Taken King, they had promised at least quarterly weapon updates. Am I crazy with that?
I feel like I've heard that before.
I don't think they ever promised a time frame. They just promised to be more active with it.
Or updating.
Yeah, it'd be like, hey, there's going to be more updates with this stuff. But as, of course, they move closer towards Destiny 2, at what point do they cut the line on that and say, well...
Also, when they said that, they thought Destiny 2 was going to be out in 2016.
That's true. They thought we would be playing it right now.
They had to buy another year, so you have to keep that in consideration. For me, the strike scoring actually brought in some new life, and I have enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm not going to run strikes all the time. When there is a burn that's available during the week, like this week we got Arc Burn, I think it's fun to jump in for a stream or two for a few hours. I don't find that
steamroll and have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like you could jump in, use a bolt caster in new ways, just have some fun stuff like that, and then the strike scoring adds another element of, oh, that's how effective that smash was jumping in. You look how many of those acolytes you just killed or something like that. That's an interesting aspect of it.
And the increased drop rate of the strike keys, you know, if you're still looking for something like a fake bringer, you know, a perfectly rolled Imago loop, you know, you feel like you've got more chances at it. So
definitely.
You know, it feels like there's more reward in there too.
The fake bringer is like literally the last thing I'm looking for at this point. But I'm waiting for like a nightfall to come around where I could actually farm it. Because I've been doing farming in Borderlands 2, and that end game PvE
why are you looking for a nightfall to farm it?
So it can just come up super easy and have a burn. Because if you have to wait for it to come up in
no, you don't have to wait for
you
can just select
I don't want to
actually go heroic.
I don't want to take 10 minutes to go through the Undying Mind.
Just do the PlayStation exclusive one. I can go from start to getting the boss to trigger in like 2 minutes.
2 minutes,
and then
really?
you kill the boss. Yeah, I can
nice.
do a whole strike run in about.
Do you have a fake bringer then?
No.
Okay.
Precisely. And once you're out of keys, you gotta go
It'd be
farm
really
those
funny
keys.
if you get that to drop and then they bring back the old raids and they're like, "Hey, Fate Bringer, it's exotic and you can have it now." You're like,
this one has Arc Burn too. It's like, now this normal one's useless.
I'm gonna go play Overwatch.
I'm just done with Destiny. I give up.
The end game though, the end game PvE stuff really does have to shift in Destiny 2 to where there is more carrots to chase after when we've reached the content drought. You know, like the content drought can sustain itself if the variations and interest level exist for the type of loot. And I really hope that gets shifted in Destiny 2.
Yeah, I made a video about that today or this week, Tefty, and one of my ideas was to keep the drops the way they are so that everybody's happy, right? If you play 5 hours a week, you still get the drops you want. If you do one raid a week, you still are going to get some rewards. But put some like ultra rare, like cosmetically different stuff at the end of raids and give us ornaments as a reward for kills on weapons instead of just buying them from Eververse. And give us, you know, so like if you get 1,000 kills with Hawkmoon, you get an ornament. If you get 5,000 kills with Hawkmoon, you get an ornament. If you get 10,000 kills with Hawkmoon, you get an ornament. Like give us rewards like that are long term, right?
Mm-hmm. I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that.
Because right now, man, there's nothing. What are you looking for? What are you know? Unless you're just playing to have fun with friends, there's no loot goal anymore.
I would actually disagree, Briar. I'm gonna have to say that in my experience, for every 10 to 15 games of trials, you 5-0 someone, you gather the tears of the enemies. I'm pretty rigidly on that. Yeah.
Do you have an eBay account that I can purchase those?
Tier 12.
I'm in the market.
No, I'm a sarcastic ass. I'm sorry. Yeah, I
haven't noticed at all.
Yo, Pope, you're beautiful. Don't worry.
You say that. I don't believe you.
It is one of those
compliment
things
Pope's hair. That's all. You good?
Jesus. All right, I'm gonna mute this.
Rough week for Pope fans.
I'm gonna go bald from laughing at that.
We also got a hot fix this week.
Yes.
Not much in that hotfix. I think the main stuff was they changed some of the physics on some of the maps for Crucible.
Yes. Frontier,
so some of those kind of cheat
top
spots.
Of the bridge, by the way.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. How did that one slip through?
Because you want, from a PvP, a very PvP focused player's perspective, it creates really, really cool, unique engagements. It does. It does, really, because if you can get really good at jumping off out of the kill zone, kill people, and get back up top and play around up there, yeah, believe me, it is extremely frustrating to get shot from up top. It is. It'll make you want to break your console in half and chuck it out the window. But I have seen some really, really ridiculous things playing off the top of that, and you can use it to your advantage if you know exactly.
Of course you can. It's a cheat spot.
it's in the kill zone, but it's not outside of the map. If it's outside of the map, it's a clearly unintended. But I mean,
Briar, you're arguing with a guy that uses a keyboard. Come on.
Hope you've been using a keyboard to type in chat. Just saying. So, if they didn't want players to go up there, if they 100% said no, you're not supposed to do that, this would have fixed it. It would have.
Yeah.
And this as clear as day.
Maybe they tried and then it broke like hand cannons, and they were like, "Well,
can't do that."
Put it back. Take off all the bloom on hand cannons.
Exactly. People are landing shots. Thorn's good.
What is this consistency?
Can't have this happen.
Did they?
They fixed the issues with Blind Watch, Burning Shrine, Cathedral of Dusk, the Cauldron, the Drifter, the Dungeons, Exodus Blue, Floating Gardens, Frontier, Memento, Skyline, Timekeeper.
Every map.
Yeah.
Thank you, private matches, for allowing us to test all this bullshit.
Well, thanks for the YouTubers that make videos about where to hide in Crucible maps so you can get 20 and O's.
Speaking of which, this freaking weekend, Floating Gardens, the spawn
map.
The spawn that has the pit on the left side, the drop off. If you stand there and you look back up to your left, here, or back up to your right, there's like maybe 100 to 150 feet in the air. You can climb up there, and I got shot in the face from up there, and was like,
"Oh God,
did I just get killed by Spider-Man? What is this?" It didn't make sense, and I saw after so that you can see where he is afterwards. I remember just being like, how did he get up there? And it wasn't even the first time the dude in that match did that. There were a bunch of different spots that he was like, he's way up here, and on my radar, it looks like he should be right next to me, but he's above. I don't know how he did that. And then he just like, boop, and I die. I'm like,
that map is lousy with that anyway.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that map?
Can we get rotating maps? Just saying.
I agree with lots. Yes, please, rotating maps. But I kind of like. I might joke and call it floating garbage because sometimes it does feel like floating garbage, like shit like that happening. But I don't really have too much of a problem with it. It does play super top middle focused. Everybody plays around heavy. There's a lot of shotgun action that goes up there. If you let the other team get it early and they know that that's a good spot to hang out because the flag is there and the heavy is there and there's lots of cover and tight corners for shotgun play, they'll set up camp. You'll literally go up there and find Hershey's wrappers and empty bags of marshmallows. Like it's Camp Central.
Making s'mores.
Yeah.
That map for the elimination game mode is just a perfect exercise of why you don't put all the objectives and crucial ammo things in one particular spot that is only accessible by 3 choke points, and the choke points
a legitimate strategy, people.
No, they can't even be accessed through like vertical means. You have to go and use these choke points and
listen to you guys. It's pathetic.
No.
If you are so good, then a guy sitting in a corner with a shotgun shouldn't be able to kill you, should they?
His Axiom Bolt can and his lightning grenade.
Typically, from my experience too, Pope, it wasn't that much of an issue for me to take over top mid if people were camping up there because spike grenades are amazing.
Spike grenades cover like the entire thing.
Those curved walls on the outside are there for a reason. You have a crazy amount of zone control if you drop a nade in exactly the right spot. Get anything like a lightning grenade. One lightning grenade will flush out a team from up there if they're hiding somewhere stupid. Now, if they're not hiding somewhere that's extremely campy for a shotgun angle, like getting the drop on somebody, then you already know they're in a location that you can either engage them from range or you have the ability to push. Because at literally all the corners where they camp to get a shotgun drop on you, you can nade out, and all the positions that are not advantageous for that, you can get an angle from distance. It takes practice and you have to know the map, but it's not as bad to manage as some people make it out to be.
That's good to hear.
Yeah. The one other thing that I don't really like for that map is it's basically every map scories that artifact. Since basically,
what's wrong with that artifact?
The games either go by both
I don't have that artifact.
Yeah, both teams rush top, or one team rushes top, the other goes really far away, and then you got Scories doing its thing. The only reason I don't like it, I understand why it's in the game for PvE and like the chaos of 6v6. If a team's camping, then that means they're very organized, whatever. But for 3v3, you shouldn't be rewarded for passive play. You're giving up positioning and ground, and you're rewarded entirely too much for it. And just player versus players.
How many? Can I just throw this out there? So in normal PvP games, like where there's first-person shooter games, there was always like the spawning of the rocket launcher or something to break a setup, right?
For Halo.
And those kind of things. You got to divorce yourself from that reality and realize that Destiny is a different type of PvP. There are so many types of heavy type setup breaking one-shots in this game that, I mean, and every character is like a gigantic raging machine of one-shots of something. Yeah. So I think there's so many game setup breaking devices that one player has that if people choose to camp in this game, they are denying themselves the opportunity to go get kills, and they are making themselves targets.
Which is why it is so frustrating in trials, is because that is the mindset that you go in. If a team is camping in 66, they're giving up, objectives, they are giving up positioning, they're giving up all the ammo. But due to trials and it being a round based, like rounds are what causes the wins. If the time goes to the end of the round and you have a team full of scories on, team's gonna gather up their supers. If the other team that's been playing more aggressive, that can't actually push into the areas that they're camping, don't have scories on, then they're not gonna have supers up, and team with supers that were camping get rewarded for very passive play. I understand why it's there, but at the same time, it feels like it's rewarding for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I agree with you on that too. And also, people can lock down those points too, so they can camp on the map, and then they can
especially
snipe
on that map.
Yeah, exactly. They can snipe and lock down those areas that they would get approached. So if you choose to be like, no, I'm going to bust up this scory camp, and then all of a sudden snipe. Well, they just won a round, and then also they got more super energy.
You can potentially build a loadout to kind of break those setups, especially so trials is, like you said, it's typically slower than skirmish or any other threes based game type, because people are waiting for the kills, and if you get the kill, then you already have an advantage, that kind of thing. But you can run your setup in such a way to try and kind of beat that. Destiny Fun Police does a pretty good job of that by dropping what's the grenade? Suppression on people left and right. A wise man with a bird tattoo on his shin once said, "Use whatever, don't apologize." And that's a thing that I will always fall back on whenever it comes to people saying one way or another about anything. I played a game against another pretty big trials guy, and we ended up winning, but on one of the rounds they sat inside on Burning Shrine, and I know audibly I made mention of the fact that he was running Defender, and he's just going to drop the bubble on the cap point and win the round. And that's exactly what he did, and it was perfect. It was smart because they're playing to win. I think a lot of people will look at things like scories and say, "Oh, you're a jackass, and you shouldn't use that, and you have no skill."
It's a viable strategy to win. Completely.
But it works, and if
very clearly it works.
I think it could be right, and I think there's two ways to approach it. There is the way that people use what is given, and those people should not be chastised for using what is given. But then there's the other side, whereas what advice can we give to the developer to make it more of an enjoyable experience?
Yeah.
And I think that Scories is one of those that, while I like what it does to promote team gameplay, and especially for PvE, in PvP, it could be adjusted so that the maximum people that you can attach to in a PvP setting is one other, so that, if there is, so you could boost maybe not as much. I mean, there could be ways of adjusting it in PvP that make it more equitable. But I'm with you, Dr. Lupo. If you're, I'm sorry, Mr. Lupo. I'm with you, Mr. Lupo, on the fact that if you're using something that's in the game, then go about it, man. Have fun.
I agree.
Whatever, don't apologize, dude.
Yeah, seriously. I think the witch hunting that happens to people who use a specific loadout, That's bad. Like, honestly, we should not be like, oh, you're using a Matador? Jesus, man, way to crutch up. It's like, well, the game has put it this way. It's the developers that have made it so you should use these type of weapons. It's the meta and that type of thing. So don't send a hate message to somebody because they're using the meta. That's counterproductive. It's more like Bungie needs to shake it up. So
that's true.
Patrick, you got anything you want to tell us about?
Yeah. Speaking of shaking things up, I'm not going to shake up this rock solid ad read script. So let's talk about Blue. Because no doubt you've noticed these wild Blue mics and headphones that we're using. They're just some of the iconic gear that Blue creates. Blue's award-winning products are the driving force behind professional musicians, internet creators, and countless elite gaming teams and Twitch streamers. Their Yeti USB mic is the internet's most popular microphone, and their MoFi and Lola headphones deliver insane sound and a very personalized fit. Blue offers everything you need to completely immerse yourself in the ultimate gameplay experience. Learn more about Blue at bluemic.com. Dr. Lupo's clacking away at the keyboard.
Tippity taps. Those Cherry MX Browns, man, even with dampeners, they're still loud as hell.
And I can't help but notice you also you wear the MoFis or Lolas.
These are Lolas.
Now, I think I used to think that Dado was the worst, keyboard clacker. I think we've met his match.
Oh, hold on, you want some real clacks?
Oh God, no, we don't. Well,
there you go, Pope.
I totally didn't want to edit more stuff out of the podcast.
Patrick deals with me every.
You can't edit that out.
That's fine.
That's part of the podcast.
Patrick's used to it. It's fine.
Holtz, it's part of my stream, man. It's part of the podcast now. Sorry.
I know exactly what Watts is like. This is Watts speaking. This is Watt's keyboard. I know exactly what the
now you know what it looks like. You just
I know exactly what it looks like. Yep. It's like this small but completely solid line of audio. Yeah. It's great.
So, how do you guys feel about the current little event that Bungie's putting on here with the help of a couple broadcasters? This whole Bungie Bounty Days.
Bungie Bounty Days, yeah.
That is pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
it gives a lot of people a chance to get that emblem too.
Mm-hmm. Look at Dr. Lupo taking over the podcast and switching on transition.
Well, love it.
I love this.
Hope I'll
see you later. Bye.
I like that. I like the angry chair pushing.
I think it's great that they're doing this. I hope to see more of it. I hope it's not just this one time, because
they said it's 30. They're doing it for like a month, and then it's going to be every week.
So they've got a list of 21 over the 30 days, and then what I've heard is one per week. One community member. They didn't say streamer. They didn't say broadcaster. They said community member, which is cool because that means there could be some very large YouTubers that don't typically stream.
Yep.
There could be people that have done organization for big events but aren't known outside of that. They have a lot of people to pull from. That is going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, there's a ton of people in this community. Right, there's so many. It's not just the streamers. It's not just the YouTubers. There's so many.
Big and
that I think it's really good. It's also good for Destiny on Twitch because it's bringing in thousands and thousands of viewers. Even the lesser known of the current people that they've had, they're pulling like 3,000, which awesome. They usually don't get those numbers. So it's doing good for the directory. It's making people want to hop in the Crucible, even if it's just for 2 hours a day. And it's a smart thing that they did. It's smart. I know some people are hating on it, like, oh, Bungie's doing bounties and giving away emblems because they got no content. But I mean, it's a good thing for the community. They're helping out the community as well as themselves. So I don't see what the issue is.
Well, I've seen a number of
people who can't get the emblem.
I've seen a number of different different. Well, we won't even say negative. A number of different opinions regarding the whole event in general. There were. Just looking at the list here, it's nice to see diversity, but it's interesting to look at the Destiny directory and see how strong of a female presence there is for broadcasters, and only see, as far as I can tell, only 2 in this list. Now, I have no idea how the list was chosen. I have no idea who they communicated with. Maybe some people said no. Maybe some people weren't available. Maybe it was like a first come, first serve thing. I very specifically don't see Watts in there, which is a little surprising to me because you've been a big face in this directory for the longest time. But that doesn't mean that you're not on the. You could be the week after this. Maybe they're going to touch base with you and say, "Hey, you want to be the one this week?" or something like that. That being said, I'm very glad that there are some women included in this list. Plus, they do cover a pretty wide range of skill. As for a game that a lot of people have criticized for being really skill based for their matchmaking, they did do a good job of touching base across what could be considered across the board. You have some players on here that have been seen winning tournaments left and right that are clearly extremely good. And you have some people on here that are way more entertainment focused with their broadcasts and stuff like that and don't have a strong PvP presence. And I think that to me says a lot about, like we were saying earlier, as time has gone on, they've started to listen more and more to what people have wanted. And one of the things that they wanted, people have said, is they want an opportunity across the board to be able to win these kind of things. And if you're trying to snipe Bungie, I mean, it could be difficult
hard.
because they're very siloed, right? Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
It's also like even just with the way matchmaking works in the game, Watts couldn't match up against Bungie, and she lives 15 minutes away from Bungie.
Yeah.
So it's one of those weird things. This is giving a much larger swath of people to possibly match up.
I think it's awesome. It's a win-win for the community.
Yeah,
Everybody,
it's a win-win for sure.
There's a lot of time between now and when we're going to get something new.
Yeah.
And if they're going to throw a bone to streamers and say, "Hey, we're going to shine our spotlight on you and let the community know about you," this is awesome. It's a nod in the direction of streamers that are working their ass off to get content out there. It's I think it's awesome because how many times did we see Char lose today? You know what I mean? I mean, not that he's bad. That's not what I meant. Sorry, that's gonna come out.
You're
inadvertent
calling
roast?
out Chariona on stream right
No,
now. 1v1
you're
gonna have to 1v1.
next week.
All right, I love the guy to death. It's not that I meant is that you guys mentioned it. They're not crazy slayers. It gives people the opportunity to get the emblems. I just think it's a win. Everybody should just lighten up and enjoy it, and just have some fun. I tuned into a couple of them. They're great, fun, interactive, and I support the hell out of it. I think it's great.
It's a fun thing.
Also, the casters that they chose, there's a few of them. Like Jez is in Australia, so that's good. So people who are Australian viewers, they can possibly get matched up against Jez. Also, Maloney, I believe, is in Germany.
Yeah,
So,
they need to spreading it out as much as possible throughout the world is super important as well.
Yeah,
and they've done an okay job of that so far. And I know Deej said that they're going to have more European people coming up. So that's good.
They need to make sure they cover all their bases. Like you said, Jez is Australian, which will touch base with New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
But I don't see anybody unless I'm mistaken, that's like East Asian specific. Yeah, because there's Japanese players left and right.
There's a ton of Japanese players.
I see the streams with just a crazy number of viewers, and I'm like, I didn't realize it was as big as it is in Japan and China.
Yeah, it's doing really well in Japan.
Here in San Francisco, we get to play against them on a regular basis.
Oh, don't worry, I can here in Tennessee too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
SBMM makes magic happen.
Well, luckily the bottom end of that skill, the skill rating is covered too. Mine is next Wednesday, the 25th. So if people in stream want to kick my ass, I'll see you then.
I'm gonna come in there and touch your butt. I'm not gonna kick your ass.
Do it.
Maybe I'll do both.
Just make sure you ask first.
Sexual tension.
You guys, that's a totally different podcast. Do you guys want another room?
It's the After Hours podcast.
We actually got questions about that in Twitter about the butt touching. So I want to start the Twitter questions up, and all right, and we'll talk a little more about butt touching. The first is from Jay at DTR. While Activision and Bungie announced some news on D2, will Activision and Bungie announce some news on D2 on February 9th on Activision's next earning call?
I imagine there will be some sort of mention of it. There's a mention of Destiny in every single earnings call.
Right.
And last time, I think the only thing that was mentioned was that it's still on track for a 2017 release.
Yeah, they also mentioned last time that they were looking at a new way of releasing content more regularly.
Yeah. So
if you're looking for details on what Destiny 2 is going to be like, you're not going to get it from that.
Yeah.
What you might get is confirmation that it's coming out in 2017 or that it's getting delayed.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't they have to, in the earnings call, don't they mention also time frames like quarterly?
Right.
Typically, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that we might get a frame of time, but I think we can all guess when it's coming out.
Well,
September
can we?
2017.
We all assume right now that it's September.
Assume September. Yeah.
That's what we assume. But
I'm putting
we're all
positive
prepared.
vibes toward that.
Yeah, I think we're all prepared for the like. Oh God, they need another quarter or two.
Yeah.
Like
all my eggs going in the basket. I am missing
Q1 2018.
I am positive they're going to be at E3. I'm so positive I'm not going to schedule myself to go to GP Las Vegas, which would be 3 days of playing Magic the Gathering, okay? Because it crosses over with E3. I'm like,
wasn't that your previous like couple days ago? 3 days of Magic the Gathering?
No, that was only like 2 days.
Just
get it right.
But I think next week you have another 3 days scheduled, right? Of playing Magic the Gathering at least.
No, there's only one day this week.
Only one?
Sunday. Only one.
We get on that schedule, man.
He doesn't count pack opening streams as actually playing. So
that means I'm not even streaming. I'm not even.
Oh,
wow. I'm not even streaming.
Missed opportunities featuring Holtz.
Rich at Rich GTR says, I've noticed a lot of Destiny streamers now play Overwatch. Do you think Destiny or Destiny 2 could be a competitive shooter?
Maybe.
If they take it in that direction, but I don't know if they're super focused on making it really competitive. I don't know.
Not Destiny 1. Not in the current engine. The way that
Definitely
things run right now, not Destiny 1. We're way past. I mean, when the game first released, we were already way past when it could become competitive as far as the game engine standards go. I mean, they could keep patching and keep balancing and keep updating, but you're still running on a framework that can be very cringy at times. Destiny 2, though, as far as we know, it's a fresh slate. But they
have no idea, though.
They've already established however it's built right now in the studio, however it's running. That's it. I mean, if they have a dedicated back end, then that's it. If it's running peer to peer, that's it. There's no going back. That's a really big thing to change. You'd be asking somebody to change the way a game engine operates at its core, and you can't backpedal that kind of code. That would
2 years in its life.
It'd be like almost being ready to release a game and then scrapping the entire plot in September of 2013 and then deciding to rewrite it all.
Never. I've never heard of that.
Oh, sorry, something in my throat. My bad.
Five says, since we have fathers on tonight, how do you balance family, work, and gaming? I seem to run into trouble.
It's a good question.
We got 3 dads on tonight. This is a dad cast.
Dadcast.
Who wants to go first? Because I've actually answered this question a number of times in my stream. It's up to you guys. I can field it.
I've answered it before too. I think I've answered it on the podcast actually. I highly recommend starting a YouTube channel or a Twitch stream, monetizing your game experience, and then contributing to the family by playing video games.
There you go.
There's the answer.
Kill it.
No, to even get off the ground, at least in my position, I have had unmatched support from my wife. Before I started, it was just before I got partnered, it was just a silly thing that I was doing with a friend of mine to do trials runs on the weekend and dick around. And then as things started to pick up, and for some reason people liked me, I still don't know why. I mean, ask Pope Bear, I'm a cheater. Things got more popular, and there was a better perspective of what could potentially happen. And then we started talking about, hey, what if I can turn this into a thing and actually do something with it and make it even part of my career. She was one of the first ones to throw that idea out there when I was like, well, if I'm gonna stream, I kind of need a setup. And she was like, okay, let's do this and this and this. She was the one that was putting the idea out there and being forward about it and pushing me. So without her being a strong supporter, I would not have been able to do this. I mean, I put in way too much time to being a huge geek already. So for me, it wasn't a big transition, but adding the camera and the microphone and being being a personality too, on top of cheating in Destiny, I wouldn't have been able to get to this point without her. So
That's awesome.
A schedule goes a long way too, and I think that goes without saying. But having like
honoring and respecting their family time.
Oh yeah.
When it's family time, and you can't be talking about or thinking about or making plans about Destiny. It's got to be honored and respected. And
I think that's something that's super important with just all streamers and content creators in general. So people don't realize how demanding it is time-wise. Like, you will be sitting at your computer for very long periods of time. And I think it is very important to have that time that's separate, where it's like, okay, this is where I'm spending time with my family or my friends, so you can keep those relationships intact, because it can get super easy to just be like, I'm just going to stream for 12 hours a day, every single day. And then you end up losing like touch with so many people. Yeah. So I think it's important to keep your sanity by like having some time where I'm not online, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
I think Pope says it right too, where you really got to respect the relationships that you have and make sure you're really devoting your attention and your time to fostering those relationships and doing what other people feel is important aside from what you feel is important. But then sneak in those games in the spare time.
For me, it's early in the morning, because like, we just play games all the time.
Yeah, I'm with you on that too, and I'm in a very, I consider myself in a lucky position because I'm married, love of my life, and we both game, and it's true. She's awesome. Yeah, we make music, and we've made music for a long time. We also have played video games for a long time together, and we've still
sound engineer.
You guys still make music.
Sound engineer. It still requires a schedule, and that's the most important thing. Is that once you've set up a schedule and you honor that schedule, that's where you can have daily life happen. It's okay to like throw out the schedule every now and then, obviously, because life happens and events happen and so on and so forth, and you have to adjust and go with the flow. But in order to make it a month after month type of situation that can sustain itself and then also have the opportunity to grow, the schedule is very important. So you honor those times, just like you guys are saying, you honor the relationships, you honor the time together, but then you also have, if you do get lucky enough to turn it into a business, you do have to honor that as well, because the business has to have time and focus. But having those scheduling, so you know what time you're focusing on the business and so on and so forth, that makes it an agreed upon effort.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then there's me over here.
Steven Ice says, what change do you expect to occur for Crimson Doubles? Maybe an addition of multi-team, 2v2, v2, v2? Or maybe the deletion of two of those teams?
Well,
there it
the
is.
Deletion of the entire event.
There you go, done.
I think we need to take a moment and try to find Patrick and Eve. Never mind. Sorry. That was going to go the wrong direction, Briar. Go ahead.
Oh, man. I was really looking forward to where it's going. I thought maybe it would go like mail order bride kind of way.
I turned the corner, man. I'm turned the corner. I'm going to play nice.
I cannot support this new Pope. This is not the Pope I fell in love with.
Pope, he doesn't need anybody, man. He's got
Pope, you're not honoring my needs.
I was gonna see if we could create an account of Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters account, something like that. But that's
Holtzmann's face.
Drop Bear King says kangaroo or emu for transportation. Which is the best option? We Aussies are confused on what to use. Kangaroo or emu?
Better transportation. You fought wars against emus already, and you lost. Okay.
Dude, kangaroos are bastards, though. They're like pests in Australia.
They've already lost the war against the. Okay, seriously. I'm gonna look up the Great Emu War.
I feel like Holtzmann has a lot of passion behind this question.
Holtzmann feels like it.
The Emu War, known as the Great.
The kangaroo does have better storage capacity, but it's a very bumpy ride. The emu is a very smooth ride.
Have you seen how jacked those roos are?
Yeah, dude, they're fucking ripped.
Emus,
they are.
Are they gonna carry you? Like
some of them will be like.
Some of them can, yeah.
Let's ride.
I feel like
see that video of the guy punching the kangaroo.
Of course, absolutely.
before every fight, I think a kangaroo probably says, "Do you even lift, bruh?" And then they start fighting.
They are the ultimate bro animal.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're all born with sunglasses and backwards hats. There's a hoodie with no sleeves on too. They got that's the kangaroo setup, right?
But Mark Wahlberg like goes and like shakes each one's hand, you know, says, "Welcome to the club."
Say hi to your mother for me.
In case you guys ever do want to read about the Emu War, just go to Wikipedia, type in Emu War. It's an actual thing. It was a military
where you'd want to go if you want to know about anything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Holtzman's I mean, like trying to educate people, and we're acting like assholes. So
yeah, you should go look it up. It's great. I mean, it had actual military involvement in 1932, like using 2 Lewis guns, 10,000 rounds of ammunition. I think weren't there actual casualties? Like on the
lot of ammunition, not to have casualties.
Side?
I can't remember. I'm looking at it right now. I don't feel like reading. You guys should go. Yeah, you guys should go look it up. It's great. It's good stuff.
It was a good time.
All right.
Lots
JK Rash 89 says, "Where is the Rocky training montage and hype for the PD versus DCP showdown?"
Holy shit.
We should make that. We should actually.
We should.
It needs to happen.
We really should.
It needs to happen. Get in touch with Reachway. He does good stuff. There's a bunch of them out there, man. Seriously, it would be amazing to see like just some sort of 1 minute quick clip of some of you guys playing and then the other team playing. And mash that shit together. It would be really cool.
Can it be me using Dreg's Promise and then Patrick yelling at me for using Dreg's Promise?
Yes.
I can be part of it.
You're using it too?
It's just going to be me going like...
like, Watts put on a shotgun, but I like Dreg's Promise.
We just put out our official announcement of the on Twitter, so find it on the DCP Twitter account. And it's great. Ash did a great job on that GIF, man.
Yeah, that GIF is amazing job.
The GIF is amazing.
So it's if you haven't seen it, just follow one of us on Twitter. It'll be posted there. We have an announcement with the date and time, and it's a Guardian Con event. So we're going to be raising money for St. Jude's, and we got a lot of things planned. It's going to be streamed on the Guardian Con channel as well as everybody else's here. And so we're gonna raise some money, and we're gonna have Chariana and Typhoon Trav do the play-by-play. It's gonna be fun. You guys are not gonna want to miss it. It's
gonna be good. Donnell Jones says, if all the current classes had access to the same jump, which class would be the most OP? Which class would you use more?
I would be a warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Warlock.
You could toss on some Bones of AO with your Stormcaller, man.
Oh my god.
That'd
be quite honest with you, I thought there was a content push recently in Trials. I've been seeing Warlocks and Titans, and everybody use Blink all over the place. Have you guys not experienced that?
I saw that in the banner.
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Especially in the death cams, you see that little highlighted thing go beep, beep, beep.
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Proto says celebrity crushes? ?
Brad Pitt.
We got a celebrity crush? Brad Pitt.
I don't know what is with you and Brad Pitt. I don't agree.
Have you looked into his eyes?
No.
You get lost in them.
You get lost. It's that scene from
Holtzman's still trying to find his way out, man. He's still trying to find his way out. He's been lost in there for a while. Look at that face. Look at that face. He's single
now too.
Oh god.
Oh boy.
Maybe he plays Magic the Gathering.
Maybe.
Hit him up, please. You guys could open packs together.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's friends with George Clooney too. That's a double threat, man. And both of them are out a single. George Clooney's a bachelor for life.
Celebrity crushes. Man,
legit don't have any.
I don't think
Nathan
I have
Fillion.
One.
I believe every nerd has a crush on Nathan Fillion, as they ought to.
If there's ever...
I checked out his. I'm not gonna lie. I checked out his Twitter account today and stared at his picture for a little bit.
Your name could be Patrick Pitt.
Ooh. Good point. You could. Your name could be Pee-Pee. You and Donald Trump would have something in common.
No. Bring that up again. Anyway,
all right. Are you gonna edit that out?
That's work. That means I have to actually listen to the entire podcast all the way through.
The PP stays. Don't worry.
The PP stays all over the bed.
Triggerblade says increase to Titan and Hunter melee range. Yes or no?
No.
No.
T-Rex arms is iconic, man.
Yeah.
You can't take that away.
I think
How about
decrease Warlock.
for me?
All I would want is when I'm not in Hunter melee range for you to allow me to throw my smoke and not be like, nope, you're too close but too far. I don't know. You just melee. That's what I want. That is what I want.
Lining up that perfect headshot only to stab them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Stabbing them does less damage than throwing your knife for some reason.
One of the things about melee range too in Destiny or in any sort of game is that I've always found there should be a comfortable correlation between damage and distance. A Titan is super short melee range, but with super low armor on the target, you can one-shot somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opposite side of that is if the range is extremely far, make it not do as much. So it's the effectiveness, the benefit of the melee should be that you can hit somebody that's way farther away. It wouldn't reduce the lethality of things like a Stormcaller, because if you're hitting a shotgun blast at distance and you're only doing 100 damage, maybe the melee only does 100 damage. You can still get a kill, but then it's not as rewarding to hit only a quarter of the shotgun blast and then melee for far more than that and still get the kill. You see what I'm saying? So the further out that you can hit somebody, make it less effective as far as actual damage dealt. You still get a benefit. You can still get the same kills, but then it'll cut out the number of like, oh, I just barely tapped him with the shotgun, but zap, I still have the crazy long melee range.
That would be an amazing solution to the Warlock melee range right there with the Stormcaller. I mean, honestly, like that's easily the best solution I've heard for fixing that problem, because I've meleeed people from a ridiculous distance and gotten the kill and been like, that's just dumb. And if there was a damage fall off that made it so it neutered it, to a certain point, that would be great. I'd be way okay with them having that kind of melee range.
Maybe they should put Bloom on it.
Bloomin' lightning?
It has anti-bloom on. Have you seen the videos of people like
Yeah.
The aim assist test, the aim assist test doing a complete like 180. It's not a complete 180. It's basically like a 90-degree cone.
Yeah,
is what and it'll
like
auto lock on.
A lightning grenade kind of.
Yeah.
Essentially if the target's on the screen, you're probably going to hit them.
You're probably going to hit them.
Yeah.
You're probably going to hit them. So
Give life back to music says, what would each member want in 2017 version of the April update? What do you guys want in the April update?
Oh boy.
This one's easy for me.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Hawkmoon, bring it back, dude. Please. I'm freaking begging you. Give me an exotic hand cannon that's fun to use, that feels like it has some meat.
Burst curse, motherfucker.
Dude, why would you use a weapon that can 3-tap at that rate of fire when you can use a different weapon that can 3-tap at faster rate of fire? I'm just saying, the range is great
because it sounds amazing.
I'm not saying
and it has
not
quick draw.
I agree that it's incredible, but there are too many better options.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
It's a cool gun, and it feels exotic if you don't want to like really stay competitive as much as those people.
I use it because it has quick draw, and that's basically it. Also, landing a headshot kill on someone like with the last round in the chamber. Oh, that feels good because then you got 8. You got 8 more.
That's true.
First curse would be a really good weapon to turn into an exotic that feels exotic. If instead of refilling the mag and increasing the range when you got a headshot kill, they refilled the mag and then increased the impact ever so slightly, so you could 2-tap. So you could 2-tap to the head, mid armor, and lower guardians.
Oh Jesus,
it would feel
with
exotic.
those bullets that you have, like those few that you have for you like landing that precision kill. You're like, I get to 2-tap all.
You shoot super slow already anyway.
That'd be amazing.
You have to be accurate.
No, it should.
Briar,
then
do you
it becomes
believe
exotic.
these hand cannon nerds like geeking out right now? Where's my auto rifle?
I don't want that. I would be busted.
Bullets everywhere.
I feel you, Pope. I want like high impact auto rifles to come back.
I want
that'd
to
be fun.
spray the entire side of the wall with bullets and hit 3 of them and kill somebody. Yeah.
And also I want to nerf fusion rifles into the ground. Screw fusion rifles.
That's right. Nerf them again.
I'm joking.
Have you played against Saladin's Vigil? Nope.
I'm totally joking about the fusion rifle. It's just funny to be like, yeah, I want to nerf this, and all of a sudden nerf fusion rifles too.
Well, nerf fusion rifles get hit every time.
That's the joke. That's the
I
meme.
know.
I'd like to see new content. I don't think we're gonna get it, but I'd love to see new content.
Well, we're getting something though from the live team.
We're getting a thing.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be bigger than we've had because they're not doing Crimson.
I'm gonna throw out a wild speculation. Are you ready for this?
Ready.
Yeah.
I have no basis for understanding any of this. This is absolute wild speculation.
Perfect. It's happening.
On the reef, the doors are going to open up. It's going to be all about the queen. That would be exciting.
That would be cool.
Leading into Destiny 2, and it's like...
Yeah. What would happen? What would happen? What would she would be like?
Wait, as a live team update?
Is she alive? Wait, I don't know. Maybe the live thing leads into Destiny 2, right? Where we find out. We don't find out that she's alive, but we go on a mission with her brother through the live team, right?
Wow,
I know he's an asshole, but we kind of
they're introducing NPCs into these too. Like they're gonna introduce.
So you want
NPCs into missions?
Do a mission with his brother. With her brother, and I mean, do you see where I'm going here?
Pope.
So you want to have a teaser in an update, a free update that's also a teaser towards the next game.
Okay. Think about
there's your trailer right there.
The marketing power of an update that just.
Yeah.
Of course,
WoW does heralding events like you've never seen before.
Yeah, dude, they have lead-ins and all sorts of craziness.
It'll be like month-long events that completely alter the scape of a server. Where they had the best one was the zombie invasion, where everyone turned into zombies in Wrath of the Lich King, and then started fucking up all the cities, and then too many people complained.
It was pretty cool, actually.
First of all,
I think it'd be incredibly smart.
I know the brother is dead. I know the brother is dead. Relax.
He's alive.
Yeah, but wasn't his ghost standing by for resurrection?
Yes.
Does anybody actually die in Destiny?
Thank you. That was my point. People in chat are too literal. This is a game about ghosts being able to respawn you, and you never die.
Yep.
Your buddy shoots you in the head with a Matador 64.
If anybody can tell me...
Can pick you up, and that's it.
Right. Yeah. If anybody can tell me that the queen is actually dead, they have no imagination. None whatsoever.
But it was in a cinematic, Pope. It's cinematic.
We didn't see a body.
She goes, I mean,
see a dead
I could have
body.
been the body double for her. I could have done the mocap. I mean,
I thought you did. I mean, based on what I assumed, right?
You saw that, right? That's natural acting, right?
Yeah,
including the hair too.
The hair fluff.
Back with the hair again. Don't worry, Mr. Lupo. Give yourself a few years. That's gonna start falling out.
Oh man, I'm good. I'm good.
Science moves forward, and advancements and all that.
Stephen Thompson says, if a warlock is the only class available in Destiny 2, would you still play it?
Wait, what?
No.
Say it again?
Yeah.
If a warlock is the only class available in Destiny 2, would you still play Destiny 2?
Reluctantly, yes.
Well answered.
I would play the bitch about it every single week.
It'd be difficult for me to be that floofy all the time, but I would attempt to be floofy.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have to go to the library also.
Holtzmann's face is like, you guys are bastards. I don't want to talk right now.
Fuck that. I wouldn't play the game.
Oh, really?
I'll come out. Yeah, I'll say it. If Warlock's the only class, no.
No, you wouldn't.
Meet. No,
I'm putting it all out there.
No, I'll say it. I would not if like E3, Destiny 2.
I can't believe you're taking this bold stand on.
I know.
Warlock
on a totally implausible scenario. He's taking
it might happen. Have you seen their warlock favoritism over at Bungie?
I know. God, their community manager is a warlock.
Clearly, he's a leader,
and they designed some of the best exotics. Or like, look at all these great exotics for Voidwalkers. God,
that's
they don't even have to use like the Titans and Warlocks don't even have to use exotics to properly amplify their movement, but Titans can use Twilight Garrison to make it even better than it already is. And then Hunters over here, we're stuck with Bones of Ao, trying to use that to make our movement as competitive as any other class's baseline abilities. And no, the favoritism needs to stop.
Oh, there you go.
The buck stops here.
Can we get a snippet of that for Patrick Mant, please?
Joshua Bryant says, if you had to choose one character to be killed in Destiny 2 to drive us to vengeance, what would it be? Who would it be?
Oh.
All of the Warlocks. Just that counts. It's hyphenated.
We get to watch them all float off a cliff. Like lemmings.
The next raid's like super complicated jumping, and all the warlocks just die trying to.
They just can't make it, no matter what.
Yep.
Just can't do it.
One character in Destiny to be killed off as the catalyst for Destiny 2. There's been so little interaction with it, but it's been such an iconic thing for the entire series. Knock the Traveler out of the sky, man.
Ooh, punch a hole in the Traveler.
Bring that thing down.
And I mean, darkness comes upon the land.
As it is right now, we have like that one, you could even call it the Holy City. We've got that one place, that one sanctuary where we still have the opportunity to live and breathe and not get constantly destroyed. And we've got the frame of this thing floating in the sky that released the ghosts and then nothing. And we're kind of, it's.
You just want to watch the world burn, Mr. Lupo, don't you?
I want conflict, man. I want motivation, because right now I don't have time to explain to anyone why I don't have time to explain why I don't know shit about what I'm doing.
Yep.
Well, that's my problem right there. Is that the problem with this question is the only character I feel any connection with in Destiny is Cade 6.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God, don't get rid of Cade.
So disappointed if they got rid of him.
No.
If he died, I'd be really pissed off.
Stop.
What if he talked to you in his like spiritual ghost thoughts and stuff?
If they kill
Obi-Wan
Cade,
Kenobi?
What if he becomes our ghost?
Yeah.
If they kill Cade, but Nathan Fillion
Cade
is
became
still
a ghost?
in, then I would be fine.
That way he's still with us, but we're seeking vengeance with him by our side for his death.
Destiny 2 Ghost.
And he's
voice
got
box.
like 50 loot caches.
But literally, that's the only character in Destiny that I have any connection to. So it's the only one that'd be an impactful death.
No,
I'd be so mad if it happened.
No, I thought
Cryptarch and I are pretty tight like tigers, so
if they base an entire raid off of the sweeper bot being killed by something, I would be all about it, dude.
Killed by sadness.
I would be fucking in there.
I know
nightly.
Sweeper bot. You just they have an opening cinematic and it's just like a slow, nice voiceover, crisp 4K resolution cinematic, and it's like a very wide zoom out of something. I don't even know, like an ancient land with like a
forested ancient land.
Shut the fuck up, Pope. With like a dungeon or something, and it's a slow zoom in through the halls of the dungeon to like a treasure thing at the very end, and it's a slow zoom in, and then as the voiceover kind of builds, you slowly see the altar, like an Indiana Jones style altar with light coming down, and it's the broom.
I'm right there.
The sweeper bot's broom. It's been taken, and you have to
literally
get it back. Yes.
Taken?
Like
taken or
like, what do you mean by taken exactly?
Yeah, taken means too many things now.
Yes.
Taken has a lot of varieties nowadays.
Is it a yellow bar taken, or are we just talking red?
God.
Yes. And you have to get it back, Guardian. There you go.
Real talk.
Dano says
Well,
if you could only change one primary weapon type as the only update to D1, what would it be and why? So one primary weapon type, one change. That's all you
Slow
get.
rate of fire pulse rifles. They were my love. I want them back. Okay. The messenger. I love that one.
Messenger's great. Hopscotch.
I would like snipers relevant again.
Red Death.
You want
That's
relevant?
it. It's got to be a primary, Pope.
Oh,
Yeah.
primary. He said primary. Sorry.
No Land
No
Beyond.
Land Beyond. Make it even better.
Mhm.
God.
Make it have even
Actually,
less flinch.
I like
Oh,
No
wait.
Land
No
Beyond
flinch.
in its current state, please. Please don't unnerf
don't
it to a
touch it.
tier 1 status.
Oh,
That's
God.
true.
I would definitely like auto rifles being back into the meta.
I gotta agree with Pope. Auto rifle. I don't know
It
how
takes
many
skill.
people played.
It takes skill.
Right at the beginning with Suros, when Suros came out, and everybody got their hands on it because Zur sold it, and it was all over the place. That was actually quite a bit of fun because there was a lot of just hail of fire at people, and it kind of kept things interesting. Right now, things are very tap, 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 dead. And that's pretty much it, right? Or one tap and dead because you ran a shotgun or pulled off some stupid jump snipe, which shouldn't happen, obviously, because, who's accurate in the air except for Master Chief? A little bitter, sorry.
No,
I'm bitter about that too.
I'm gonna counter that statement. I think snipers should be perfectly accurate in there and have no weapon at all should have.
Which one of you
any
guys?
type-
You don't know what
Yeah.
primary means?
Sorry, we got derailed. No,
Thank you, Briar. Keep them on track.
Pope's right. I think auto rifles would be. I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with Pope. Pope's not really right. We know that, but
You
it
say
would be
he's
a
not
lot
right?
of. It depends on where the light is relative
Got it.
to.
Okay.
Did he say it's not white?
What is going on in this podcast?
Pope's
All
not
right.
light. We just call
This
it
is
Pope
going to
fat.
be titled the Bash Pope podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just like roast Pope edition.
Roasted Pope.
My head
I'm with you
felt that
too.
shiny.
Auto rifles. Like I feel that same way. I'm kind of sick of like the tap type of thing, or the. Yeah. It's kind of why I run pulses more often than I kind of just stay away from the hand cannons, because I kind of want to feel that spray a bullet type of feel. And get back to the auto rifles. I don't know why. I enjoyed hand cannons when they were great in year one, but maybe I still feel that, and I just want to move away from that.
Hand cannons is frustrating right now.
Yeah, which is why I want them back in year one. They weren't frustrating to use.
No, they're frustrating.
There's literally nothing else to
Kill you
use
so
them.
fucking fast.
Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't care about that.
If hand cannons were extremely accurate right now, like there's literally no other reason to use anything else.
Yeah, agreed.
Yes.
Yeah,
agree.
I'm fine with that.
Jose Reynoso says, should Bungie have guns that only work for PvP and some that only work for PvE?
No.
I'm gonna say yes.
I'm gonna say no, because I've seen what happens with that in WoW, and it's really fucking frustrating to have weapons that only work in a specific scenario for the game, and then say you want to do another thing, but you invested time into another part of the game, and now that time is completely irrelevant to what you've done.
Almost argue that that's already the case with Destiny,
Yep.
isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, there's perk setups that you only use in PvP.
Yeah.
There's perk setups that you only use in PvE. So
Yeah.
essentially, they've already siloed certain weapons to PvP or PvE. I mean, before you say anything, you're almost never.
Hope you can use the bathroom.
You're You're not going to see people running like triple tap in PvP. You just won't see people running triple tap. It'll never happen, but you'll see it in PvE all the time because it's pretty damn good in PvE. That's the kind of setup that currently exists. I see what they're saying, like only equipable and use it, and like you can even pull it out in PvP.
Yeah, I'm going towards the extremes.
And I get that, but it's kind of already the situation.
Yeah, it's true.
Pope, you want to say something?
Yes, I do want to say something, Tefty. Thank you. I'm going to take the higher ground, as Michelle Obama said, when they go low, you go high. All right, so all I'm going to say is that I think it would be something that would help to differentiate exotics, and it should be applied to certain exotics that make them exotic and allow you to become something in PvE, and you house them. In some respects we're seeing that already, but I mean exaggerate it, right? So that in PvE you can be that Borderlands type character with that exotic on, but then when it switches to PvP, that exotic carries the traits of both, and that's where they can play with this. Leave the legendaries versatile, but give us something that shows that you've made a commitment to that type of playstyle.
Mm-hmm.
They did something with shotguns at the end of year one where they changed how much damage it did in PvP compared to how much damage it did in PvE. They adjusted them independently. And I think that approach should be looked at with exotics for PvE and PvP. Like the Thorn could be a really fun PvE weapon, but because of all the shit they've done to it for PvP, it's basically useless. Last Word could be fun.
Yeah, and actually Last Word is a lot of fun, especially when there's small arms. If you don't mind the small magazine running out of ammo, but it's just fun for that time when you do use it with small arms in a strike. I think that they really, really need to separate these things when it comes to Destiny 2. I think PvP needs its own sandbox for these type of weapons, maybe even just type of weapons that exist in PvP that don't really exist in PvE, and then PvE needs to have outlandish, crazy things happen. Just take it even further. The Gallahorn was legendary in year one because it was massive amount of damage, and then they nerfed it.
Right.
And now there's maybe some things that get close to that type of year one damage type of thing, but it's not the same. And they've tried to homogenize this PvE/PvP experience, where you can feel like you can go into both and not have to worry much. I mean, you can still do these loadouts, but they want you to feel like you can still take both things in and out of PvE and then PvP and back and forth. But it doesn't work. They have to move away from it. And the more I play
At least all
Borderlands 2,
sorts of problems like nerfing sniper rifles in PvE when they don't need a nerf in PvE.
Exactly. It creates problems right there. The more I play Borderlands 2 lately, because I've always been streaming a lot of it, and the more I get back into rediscovering some of these crazy legendaries, we need that craziness in Destiny 2. We need something that, like, if the Thorn did some sort of crazy gravity pull on PvE enemies, like, that would be amazing. And obviously it wouldn't be able to do it in PvP, but if in PvE it did some crazy gravity effect, like, what a great weapon to use, even though it has a small magazine. Be fun. So,
yeah. I agree.
I'm for PvE and PvP balancing separately, at least some of it, because PvE's been screwed.
That microwave though.
Yeah, that's not me.
Man Shark said, "Would you introduce Star Wars to someone new by having them watch originals, prequels, or prequels originals?"
Depends on their age.
Come on.
Depends on their age.
There is a very distinct order in which to watch the current Star Wars saga, and it involves completely ignoring Episode 1 because every major character, with the exception of Anakin, dies by the end of the movie. So you watch 5, A New Hope, and then as part of the flashback portion, you watch 2 and 3 to tell the story about Darth Vader, and then you watch 5 and 6. It's the only order that logistically makes sense.
What
You watch,
is it 4 and 5?
You watch 4, 5, and 6 and pretend 1, 2, and 3 never happened. And included in that, by extension, is Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
What movie is that? No one's ever heard of that.
I was gonna say it needs to be 4 or 5. So then, obviously, you get the Darth Vader moment blown away in your mind if you don't know somehow, and then you watch. You can definitely skip 1, but then 2 and 3, and then continue. 6 and 7.
It's called the Machete Orders. Oh, I apologize. It's 4, 5, and then 2, 3, and then 6.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's the Machete Order. 4, 5, 2, 3, 6.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Just ignore the.
I'm going to tell you that when my son was introduced to Star Wars, he was introduced in the only true way, as they were released in the year that they were released.
What?
Can I ask you a question, Pope? Does he like the originals or the prequels better?
I'm not going to answer that.
Answer it. Come on.
No.
Because
we know
the
answer.
He was annoyed by Jar Jar Binks. All right, that's enough. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, because like if a kid is really young, show them the prequels first, because those are
never show them the prequels.
I'm just saying it's important for him to understand the historical nature of the films as they were released. I do not want to,
kind of like,
just
understanding how wars happened.
Maybe it's the history major in me that wants to have him experience life the way that I did, walking to school barefoot uphill in the snow.
Both ways. Somehow. There's a giant elevator in the school, and then you have to walk back up.
He needs to suffer through those films as much as I did.
Make him a true fan, Pope.
That's right.
Yeah,
How else?
Do, Pope. Here's what you should do: is you should show him the original movies, right, while he's young and impressionable. Then wait till he's grown up and has this canonized versions of the old Star Wars movies.
That's right.
And then just dash his fucking dreams, showing him the prequels.
That's
break his world. That's how you should do it.
Thank you. I knew you'd understand. Only parents understand how to torture their children.
It's a long con. Fraz03 says, "Does it ever get exhausting that people accuse you of cheating because you play on keyboard and mouse?" I think we went over this before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, that stuff for me, my responses are so ingrained in my brain now that if somebody comes in and does something silly, I've gotten really good at shaking off hatred. It's really difficult to take Destiny seriously after all of the things that we've seen and how the game runs and all of the latency that now, I mean, people will teabag like crazy if they win, and then they'll jump in a stream and say, yo, I just beat you, you're garbage. You know, I love your stream, LOL, GG, you suck. That kind of stuff.
Add me on the friend.
My favorite.
Sign my mouse pad. Can we be friends? You're terrible. I hate you.
Sorry for bagging. I was nervous.
Yeah, right. I did it as a joke, that kind of stuff. I mean, I get that daily. And to me, it's just like, okay, cool, and I just move on now. So
I mean,
it doesn't.
We
kind
of all, though, Mr. Lupo, at some way or another, get those messages, and it's just we just tend to be lightning rods because people know who we are, you know. And it's I feel it's important on how you respond to those.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen some of your responses that are classic, and mine are just, you know, appreciating how lovely they are, and it tends to confuse them, and you know, their little brains get confused, and they don't know how to respond.
Oh yeah, there's some pretty silly stuff out there that people have said. Like I said before, I've heard the full range of insults and offensive things, and I mean, people see it as it's the internet. I don't have to filter myself, and they just spew whatever garbage they want to. And Kappa. And I just
kidding.
All right, cool. That's fine. So doesn't bother me.
Yep.
JB23 says, if you could only have one drink for the rest of your life, but it can't be water, what would it be? Health is not a concern.
Health is not a concern?
Health is not a concern.
Guinness.
Root beer. I'm going to go with root beer. I love root beer.
Did you say Guinness, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a good one. It's
the gluten. He's like, the gluten.
Really
Health's not a concern?
I'm free of gluten.
I want one of those.
I want to say beer.
Yeah.
But in reality, it'd be coffee.
That's another good one.
That's where I'm torn too. It's either something really dark and just really yummy. Like my go-to is typically like Three Philosophers is my beer of choice most of the time, or pots of endless coffee for the rest of my life. I mean, I don't know.
Face it, if you only drank beer, you'd just be shit-faced all the time.
No, health concerns. Health concerns are non-existent.
That's true.
You can still be shit-faced and healthy.
That's also true.
I'm going to say... I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm going to go with apple juice.
Apple juice is a good choice. It's refreshing.
I love apple juice.
You can drink apple juice all the time with everything. It's always great.
Can I say coffee mixed
in the back of your mouth, though?
See, I used to live in Germany and in the Rhineland-Pfalz area where the apple, like making apple juice is like a passion. And I fell in love with that style, not the American style of really sweet apple juice that you get in the store. The actual apple drink, it's just so delicious.
I'm gonna say
Patrick, you gonna say Irish coffees?
Yeah, I was gonna say coffee mixed with Jameson or something.
That's a great answer.
Good too.
The best of both worlds.
You guys are like, well, I really like some alcoholic drinks, but I really like coffee. Let's put them together.
You're wide awake and drunk all the time. That's perfect.
There you go.
Every day is going to be wonderful.
But the thing is, I save so much money because I'm shit faced all the time. I just don't have a car because I can't. I
can't drive.
I can never drive.
You better take that Uber,
actually,
man.
I wouldn't save money because then I'd be just like Uber. There you go to the store. Everything.
Need more
for
Jameson and coffee.
Most interesting Korean says, "What happens to socks in the laundry room?"
Okay, so you know how a fabric softener, the dryer sheet thing, will occasionally just disappear. It'll just Same thing with socks.
It disappears inside the sleeve of my sweatshirt.
Yeah,
and I find it halfway through the day.
Basically, your socks just become interwoven into other pieces of clothing and makes them stronger.
I thought that lost socks in the laundry was how Narnia started. Isn't that a thing? Isn't that what Narnia is made of? It's mostly socks.
Just all
I
socks.
could see that.
Just all socks. Magical world of socks.
Yeah, they're just making their getaway when they're doing the dryer. Like, this is our chance.
Now I imagine
Freedom.
socks like toys in Toy Story, and they can communicate with each other. And there's a sad one that gets lost or something. They all have to find
Like the
them.
food
This is a movie that's coming. It's gonna
It
happen.
is.
Sucks.
It's happening.
Pixar presents
Dreamworks.
Socks.
No. This is a DreamWorks movie.
So they all do they all have the same like toothy grin? Then isn't that DreamWorks?
Yeah, they all
They
got
all
the
have the same smile. Yeah, there you go. Yep, that's it. Yep.
All right. Trent asks, if 6 Guardians of the same subclass did all 4 raids in a row, who would finish first and last and why? So if you had 3 groups of 6, 6 Titans, 6 Warlocks, and 6 Hunters, and they each did all 4 raids in a row, who would finish first and who would finish last?
Are they allowed to change subclasses? I'm assuming. So you have a mix of subclasses.
No,
Sure.
they're all the
That's actually really interesting because
That is interesting.
I feel like Hunters would be really good with Night Stalkers because
Yeah.
damage increases and everything like that. But Titans are able to cover ground quicker because Titans
They have the bubble.
I would say a majority of the fights, though, or a majority of the time for a raid is the fighting. It's not the traveling.
Yeah.
If you can clear
true.
through a boss super quick, so what you do is you get 5 Celestial Nighthawk Goldies and 1 Black Hole Night Stalker, and you just sync those for DPS periods on bosses. You could probably buzz through fights really freaking quick.
Actually,
Yeah, I think Hunters would go first. Honestly,
I think Hunters
with
would go
Night
first,
Stalker's
too.
Golden Gun, like that's
I
just so
think
much damage.
No, I think Titans. I really do think Titans because
Why do you
they
think Titans?
because they also have the damage increase from Melting Point, and then they have Weapons of Light to add
Yeah.
upon that.
That's
Plus
true, they
also
double
have
up.
That's
Astrum.
true.
They do double up.
But Celestial Nighthawk is a
Yeah,
lot of
Celestial
damage.
Nighthawk, though, yeah.
I
I'm
think
leaning
I'm gonna.
towards Hunters.
I think I'm leaning towards Titans also because I'm thinking Vogue, Crota, King's Fall, all those. Like Celestial.
Pope is gonna. I can see the look on Pope's face. He's gonna say Warlock, and we're all gonna call us bullshit. Do it. Come on. I'm ready.
Warlocks are going to be last because
Dude, everybody
they
knows
never
Warlocks are
actually got
last.
through the raid because
No,
they've been trying to cheese
the
it for a while.
Warlocks are
keep
going to be
self-resing.
first because they're
See, I
all going to
told
be
you.
Sunsingers. They're not going to die and have to wipe at all because they just res themselves and then
Yeah,
just keep
because
going.
They're floofy and they don't know how to jump,
Yeah.
so they just have to.
They're going to
keep
be
using
stuck on
self-rest.
Atheon for 4 hours because they still think they could push him off the edge with
Exactly.
grenades.
No, I'm with you guys. I think Titans would win the day.
I think someone should do this. Like the PvE
hadn't thought of
gods
that.
of the world should do it. They really
A
should.
race.
This time.
We are now
That'd be amazing.
summoning Datto to,
Yes.
Datto.
And
to
honestly,
prove
Slayer
this.
H, where you at?
Slayer,
Slayer,
yeah.
where you at?
Yes.
Warlocks can move pretty quick if everybody's using like
They just
area
don't,
effect.
they don't
you
have
can-
the damage effect
can Warlock too.
that the other 2 classes do. They do.
But you can clear out mobs so quick.
Oh man, all those trash mobs I could one tap with a hand cannon. That sucks. See what I'm saying? Like, I think that Warlocks are at the greatest disadvantage as far as boss specific damage, which is where a majority of the
You're
time
probably
is spent. But I didn't think a melting point. That would be a really interesting
Yeah.
thing to see. Is a combination of Goldies and Night Stalkers
This is
versus
science.
defenders
We need
and
science.
Yeah, I would like to see this done. This would be cool.
It would. This is a video idea for Datto right there. Go, Datto,
Done.
do it. Make it.
Sure.
He owes
Shadow
you guys
does range.
royalties now, right? For that, isn't that a thing?
We always get paid on our ideas. That's why we do this.
Skenny says, if you could pick anyone to voice your ghost, who would it be? I think Morgan Freeman would be dope as fuck.
Oh man,
I just want Shax the whole time. Can you imagine how
Shax?
intense that would be?
constant
You'd have the intensity
Shaxgasms.
of Crucible Shax while doing
I want-
everything.
I want Hulk Hogan.
Ooh,
That'd be pretty good.
dude, if Randy Savage,
smash this door, Mr. T.
take some Randy Savage.
I pity the fool that doesn't tell me what I need to know.
I will probably elect Benedict Cumberbatch as mine, and hopefully
Oh.
find a point at which he can say the word penguin. Because if you didn't know, pinwing or some,
Pinwin.
yeah, it's bad. It's one of the funniest things, and he acknowledges it and thinks it's hilarious too. But he did like a voiceover for some National Geographic something, and not a
BBC.
Oh yeah, there you go. And not a single time did he say the word penguin correctly. The whole time.
That's funny.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Benedict for mine.
That'd be a good one. Iced tea, I think, would be fun too.
That's not bad. Would he pimp your Guardian the whole time?
Yeah.
Wait,
Get some sweet LED
Exhibit.
Put a DVD player inside the DVD player and your ghost, man.
It'd be so good.
Every time you bring out your ghost, like dun, dun, dun.
So you want to be a player.
All right. How many more of these you want to do? I got like 2 pages, so
let's do like 2 more because we're at about 2 hours right
Is there
now.
anything about butts in there?
There's got to. I mean, probably one, maybe.
I'm sure there are. I still got like 2 pages.
You might have
Let me
filtered them.
Look through.
Okay. I
Ben
want to
Rear,
tell you, Briar, that I did
526.
your job. I did your job last week, and it was freaking hard. So props to you, sir.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You do an excellent job.
Ben Rare 526 says slide sandals or thong sandals.
Thong.
What?
The
Slide
split toe
sandals?
or the strap.
Yeah, the strap is the slide
You're not
sandal.
from California, so you don't know your sandals. But you're from that.
No,
part.
we
used
just
to think
man the
thong.
fuck.
Yeah.
We just man the fuck up and don't wear sandals.
You just go barefoot.
Barefoot. Yeah.
But sandals are amazing.
That sounds about
I'm with-
right
I'm
from my
with
knowledge
Lance.
of the South.
Yeah, that fits into the stereotype.
Yeah.
Just fine.
I wear
I like the
flip-flops.
thong
like
sandals.
slides.
I like the flip flops.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
into
Yeah,
flip
I
flops.
think-
Convenient.
Yep.
I don't feel secure with the slides. I feel like they could just go flying off at any moment.
Right with the thong.
With
If I
the
need to
right
pivot, just
ones,
grip a little
with
bit
the
to keep
right
them on
ones,
there.
you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Nike ones, they're great.
Like, what if I'm on a roller coaster? I don't feel like there's anything holding those things on.
And this is where Pope steps in and says something about Crocs. Go ahead.
You know what, Lupo? I swear, I'm gonna find. I don't even know. How long does it take me to get? I live in San Francisco. Give me your address. I'll be there.
Probably maybe a 20-hour drive.
All right,
15,
I'm on my
20-hour
way.
drive. All right, I'll be outside waiting for you. Okay, good.
Man. How do you know what I was gonna say about Crocs? Damn it!
Were you really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was about to go in on Crocs because they have the little thing on the back, and then they're all shaped to cover your foot. And
Sorry, man. You're already I apologize.
it's all
All
right.
right, last question. Michael Dean Davis says, if you could bring any melee weapon and any ability from another game into Destiny, which ones and why? A melee weapon and an ability from another game.
Would the Reaper dude guy from Call of Duty count? Because it's like they're super, right?
Mhm.
But it was like the most fun thing ever because you can just
The one
dive
where you
at people
spin around?
and you slash them.
Okay.
Oh, you dive and slash them. That thing is amazing.
I'm thinking the animation from Gears of War. I want to have that chainsaw.
Got a
Saw
guardian
that
in
was-
half?
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but like a guardian does
That would be
with the
tough.
knife thing. You know, like
All right. I definitely know my weapon or my ability. The melee weapon though is tough because you could consider things like an entire suit of armor. Like if you were Samus from Super Metroid, she can punch things in the suit, and the suit is really freaking cool. So can you bend the rules and make that a melee weapon?
Anything's
Maybe
a
a little-
melee weapon if you try
Yeah,
hard
man.
enough.
if you're brave enough.
True.
But I've loved the sword design in Destiny, but I've always felt like there was no like super move. Yeah, the uppercut is pretty cool, but damn it, give me Omnislash from Final Fantasy, and I'll be happy.
Mm.
That would be freaking amazing.
it would be amazing in Destiny.
I'm thinking along similar lines, Dr. Lupo, but I'm thinking of Devil May Cry. You grab that sword, you swipe that guy up in the air, and then you pull out 2 pistols and keep
That'd
them
be
up there
pretty
with
sweet.
the pistols.
Oh
That'd
god.
be pretty sweet.
That would be awesome.
That'd be fun.
So in the most recent Final Fantasy, how they can like throw a knife or something and then teleport to the knife,
hmm
that would work really fucking well with Destiny.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually,
Can you
it would.
imagine?
Wow,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
Cool. With the
I'm
There's
pretty
so
sure there's
much
people
cool
doing
stuff
that
they can
already.
do.
I know there's already
Sure.
people doing
Yeah,
that. You
exactly.
just gotta unplug your Ethernet cable a little bit when you blink, and you're good.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
You could almost make a certain take like the Blade Dancer talent tree, and almost like they do set pieces in World of Warcraft. If you select Blink, and you select a certain melee ability, like a certain melee perk, it'll increase the range because you have blink and you can teleport to your melee target in the same way that Warlock melee is about 5 miles. It at least adds some diversity because people will be going after certain, you could call them set bonuses for perk selections to give things like that, like the ability to throw your knife and then teleport to where your knife landed.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be pretty
really
sick.
Cool.
That'd be really cool.
All right, that's it for Twitter questions. Thank you for everybody who submitted them.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to the 16th episode of the Destiny Community Podcast. We will see you next week, as usual, during Thursday streaming. And I've never done an outro like this. What the hell?
You're like, this feels weird and awkward.
This feels weird. I was just, hi, if you want to find more of me, I'm Holtzmann, at Holtzmann_YT on Twitter.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me at the Briar Rabbit on Twitter. You can find me on the Briar Rabbit channel on YouTube or streaming, hopefully soon, if my internet connection ever gets fixed, over on Twitch.
I'm Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter.com. Catch the streams I do on twitch.tv/Tefty Teft and past archives on my YouTube channel, Tefty Teft.
I'm Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and streaming here on Twitch at Miss 5000 Watts.
And Mr. Lupo?
Twitch.tv/Dr.Lupo or Twitter.com/Dr.Lupo on Twitch, or YouTube is Dr. Lupo TV.
And this has been Pope Bear. You can find me on Twitter at Pope Bear, and obviously lurking around these guys' channels throughout the week. And don't forget about the upcoming podcast showdown against Planet Destiny. If you have any questions about the times and dates, check out any of our Twitter accounts. We're going to be raising money for Guardian Con, and it should be a great day. So it's on Saturday at 10 a.m., January 28th. So it should be good for all time zones. Come in and hang out.
Raising money for
It's going to be awesome.
For charity.
Yes.
We're raising money for the Guardian Con St. Jude's charity.
There you go.
Kicking ass for charity.
Yep.
It's going to be a good time.
All right. And we will see all of you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
All right, you can stop.